Hello, everybody, and welcome to ABCs of RPGs. We are playing Avatar Legends by Magpie Games, a fun little powered by the apocalypse game system for playing through the world of Avatar, created by Team Avatar. And I'm joined by some players here. We're all excited to get a full thing going. We did our character creation and campaign setup yesterday. Christian, why don't you introduce yourself first?
Hi, my name is Christian. Pronouns are he, him. I am still somewhat newer to RPGs. Started last year with this stream and everything. And I really don't know much at all about Avatar, The Last Airbender in that universe. So if I do not completely do lore accurate things, I apologize.
No, you're from a small island where they do things a little different.
Yeah,
There
yeah,
you go.
exactly. Yeah, that's what I meant to say. But
Ash.
yeah,
Actually, my pronouns are she, her. Um, I am a little bit more background with RPGs, but not that much more. I'd probably played maybe an additional year or two in addition to the stream that we've been doing. But this is my first Powered by the Apocalypse game, which I'm super excited about. Because it's going to open up a lot of other games too, which I'm excited about. Like Monster of the Week is one that I'm in super interested in wanting to play. I grew up with Avatar, The Last Airbender, though, so I am pumped about this. Um, so I am super excited to play and to get to know like all the player characters and explore this world.
Very cool. Justin, say hi.
Hey, sorry, I was having technical issues.
oh, no.
I'm Justin. I was there when the Deep Magic, or when the Deep Magics were first written. I've been playing RPGs since I was in high school, and yeah, but this is also my first Powered by the Apocalypse game, and I'm excited to. We did a little play test prior to this. I'm real excited. This is a lot different from D&D. I feel like I'm going on too. I've used that. Play me off, Dalton.
Dan.
Play the music.
What's up, everyone? I'm Dan. I've been playing RPGs, wow, since college, my freshman year. Justin was actually my first DM. I think my first campaign was me, Justin, Spencer, and a couple other guys from our group. So, good memories there. Started off playing D&D, of course, but and then Avatar. Oh, gee. I watched a little bit as a kid, right? But not like a lot. And then it was really, I think in the pandemic that I was like soaring through anime, everything watchable. And I was like, hey, Avatar, let's do it. So I watched Atla and Korra, and amazing, right? Top tier. So yeah, peak fiction. Also, my pronouns are he, him, and that is about it. With that being said, Spencer.
Hey, yeah, I'm Spencer. I have, let's see here. I have a ton of DM and player experience just because I actually, when I started Dungeons and Dragons, it was 4th edition. I remember like my sophomore year of college, it was 4th edition D&D and being explained to it and getting like spells like per encounter and daily and stuff. It was very different. It was very video gamey. And a lot of my RPG experience came from like World of Warcraft. So it felt very right at home, but we didn't play long. Most of my experience is actually in 5th edition. I played like a homebrew campaign with like Justin being a part of it and stuff like that for like 2 years, ran a few modules. But one of the things I wanted to do is that there's so many different tabletop RPGs out there that I definitely wanted to like explore and try out different stuff. And that's what I think is really cool, that we get the chance to try out different stuff. Symborum was like my first step into that, but then through this campaign we played Call of Cthulhu, Cats of Cthulhu, and now we're playing our first Powered by the Apocalypse system, Avatar. which is really cool because there's a lot of other ones that I want to try out by Power of the Apocalypse, which is like Monster of the Week. So very excited. I love it. I love both being a game master and a player. I probably don't have a preference for either or. I think both are fun. So yeah.
Nice. Well, last and least, I'm Dalton. I'm going to be the GM for this game. My technical first experience with tabletop RPGs like at elementary school, and it wasn't really a game. We were just like group telling a story, and one guy was in charge. That was pretty much all it was. We would run around, and he would tell his sister would try to join in, and he'd be like, "No, you got shot by arrows," and then she would leave. It was very silly.
I mean,
Kids,
and
man.
also Dalton, I would like to say not least,
Huh?
not least, sir.
Well, in
You
this
are not-
context,
yeah, no,
yeah, because you guys are going to be the main storytellers. Powered by the Apocalypse is interesting, where most of this is kind of like you guys driven. I kind of like set up the initial scenario, and then everything is up to you guys. Let me read a quick description of this game, and we'll get a little bit further into that. So, Avatar Legends, the role-playing game, is a heroic adventure game set in the world of Avatar, The Last Airbender, and The Legend of Korra. This world is a fantasy setting inspired by Asian and North American indigenous cultures, a land filled with breathtaking landscapes, majestic hybrid beasts, and unique marvels of technology and industry. Yet it's also a world defined by struggle, in which there are no absolute villains or perfect heroes. Only people with complex motivations who come into conflict with others while striving to forge a future they believe is best. So, with that said, why don't you guys go back through and introduce your characters who you'll be playing at in this world? For context, we're going to be playing in the Avatar Kyoshi era, which took place a few hundred years, I think, before the Avatar The Last Airbender show, and another like 40 or so years before Korra. Yeah, Spencer, why don't you start this time? We'll go in a snake.
All right. Yes. So I am playing a character named Ting. He is from the Northern Air Temple, and he is an airbender. Currently he is actually kind of like on a traveling pilgrimage. He's been just kind of wandering around a bit and stuff like that. And normally, and this is something that's different from our session 0, you may notice that he's no longer bald. He actually has a mohawk because I wanted to make him a little bit more unique. But no. Ting actually he chose this himself. He decided that since he's on a pilgrimage and he's wandering, he wanted to style his hair how he wanted to. So all he does every day is he just blows his hair straight up into that mohawk, and he dyed it green. Ting is a bit mischievous, like most airbenders, I think. And yeah, has kind of been wandering about, and here he is. He's 14 years old, kind of on the smaller side, but wearing like traditional air nomad robes that are just a little bit dusted up. Did I leave anything out, Dalton? Or is that pretty much it?
I think that's it. I did want to ask all of you to give a little bit of flavor to your characters, what your character's favorite fairy tale was, either growing up or now. So Spencer, if you have any ideas about Ting.
Okay, it has to be something that he probably was told in the monastery growing up. And I'm just gonna say it's probably something with like the flying bison and the lemurs. What if it's probably like a good heartwarming tale where it's like, oh, like the lemur and the bison, like they challenged each other to get to a far off island, and so they started flying to this island, and the lemur, overconfident in itself, like flew around the bison and like tried to go ahead, but ended up exhausting itself and falling asleep on like the bison's back as the bison like flew towards the island. But the bison started nodding off and falling asleep going to the island, so the lemur talked to him through the night and kept him awake. And so in the end, they helped each other get to the island together because individually they couldn't have done it. So
Very nice. I thought you were going to say they both drowned because they were asleep, but that's better.
It's a much happier fairy tale ending.
I'm in Grimm's fairy tale mode, Spencer.
Yeah.
Ah,
I think if they died, Ting that would have made like Ting like he has a very dark aspect to him, and then he's like, and then they die.
Yeah, every fairy tale should end with "and then they died." Every story is a tragedy if you don't know where to end it. Dan, you're up.
Yeah, so I'm playing a character named Sapa. Sapa, his name definitely does not come from an amalgamation of Usopp and Sokka. He definitely is not inspired by both of those characters. Don't think that at all. Um, so yeah, he is just like a normal dude from Ba Sing Se, lived there all of his life. His dad lost his job, so they had to move to like a different part of Ba Sing Se. Just like normal, like 16-year-old, really like just. But the only thing is, he's like kind of like a pathological liar. Like he like really has no experience, no backstory. Like he does like lead a group of in his old part of town. Like he had a like a bunch of like 10-year-olds following him around, but
Yeah,
you
like
know,
Peter Pan style.
right. So yeah, he's just kind of just like working his way. He's just faking it till he makes it, right? Um, and then his favorite fairy tale would actually probably be the air bison and the lemur, and they died.
Yeah, he heard it differently. He's like, no, I'm pretty sure they
Yeah.
actually died.
Yeah.
Spencer had the Disney version, or Ting had the Disney version,
Mhm.
and Sapa had the Grimm's version.
No. I mean, the truth is, I just can't think of anything creative right now, so that's what I'm going to say.
Justin, tell us about your character.
My character's name is Song, and I am an earthbender. Oh, my playbook is the bold. Like tiger style. That's not a class. That's cool, but it's not a class.
Tiger style.
He is a level-headed, very kind of normal Earth person. Oh, he's blind because he got blinded in the prologue.
Mm-hmm.
He was blinded when he got beat up trying to save this little girl. Or no,
Yeah. You intervene, protect some kids during a riot.
Yeah. Thank you, storyteller. Yeah, and he is an earthbender, and his favorite fairy tale is the Five Brothers, which is a fairy tale about these five brothers, and they each have a specific power. And this kid, because one of the kids could swallow the sea, and every day he'd swallow the sea and he'd go find the most rare fish as it was like flopping around, and then he'd go spit the sea back out. And this little kid came one day and he was like, I want to go out with you and get a rare fish to sell at the market. And he's like, no, you can't be done. He's like, please. So he finally agrees. And the kid swallows the sea, but because he has his mouth full, he can't let the kid know that he's like losing his grip on the sea, and the kid won't come back, and he like has to spit the sea back out because he can't hold it in forever. And they're like, we're gonna kill you because you killed this child. He's like, I warned him. They're like, we don't care. So they sentenced him to be beheaded, but that's okay because the second brother, and they all look alike, by the way. This is important. They all look alike. They look exactly quintuplets. And they second brother has an iron neck, so they try and cut his neck. They try and cut his head off. Can't be done. They're like, all right, well, we're gonna still try and kill you. And they're like, okay, well, we're gonna put you on the rack and rip you in half. But the third brother had legs that could stretch and stretch and stretch. They're like, all right, this didn't work. We're gonna try one more time, and we're just gonna light you on fire. But the fourth brother could not be burned and survived being burned at the stake. And the fifth brother, they're like, all right, cool. Well, we're just going to drown you then. So they tie a rock to him. The fourth brother goes home and it's like, okay, cool. Well, fifth brother, we need your help because the fifth brother could hold his breath indefinitely. And so they go and they try and kill him. And I got my ways they try and kill him mixed up, but whatever. That's how they told it in my province. And they're like, "Oh well, we can't kill you, so you must be innocent." And the five brothers lived happily with their mother for the rest of their lives. Long, happy lives. Yeah. And that's a real fairy tale. My personal one is The Legend of the Jersey Devil, but
is it a fairy tale?
I don't know. You said legends.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
There's like a fairy tale regarding her origin.
Yeah.
Or its origin. There's
a good point.
Yeah.
I didn't know that cryptids were involved. Otherwise, I would have said the Mothman.
Sasquatch. Oh, Mothman.
Little Sam Squanch.
Ashley, tell us about your character.
I don't know how I'm going to follow that up, but I am playing Kiona of the Northern Water Tribe. She is a waterbender, and her playbook is the Rogue, which has these two principles of friendship versus survival. So I am actually really excited to play her. I love playing kind of rogue, mischievous type characters. So she used to be in the Northern Water Tribe military, actually, but she felt that it was corrupt. So that's why she kind of not kind of she deserted. And she's been hiding in the Earth Kingdom since then. So you'll notice that she's wearing Earth Kingdom garb to try to blend in. She does have brown hair, blue eyes. She's in her early 20s, still kind of young and impulsive. And she also has a trusty steed that is also her favorite possession that she stole, swiped, or otherwise acquired illegitimately. Buffy the Corruption Slayer, a buffalo yak. Which I'm very proud of that name. And then as far as her favorite fairy tale, is Ferdinand the Buffalo Yak, not to be confused with Ferdinand the Bull, completely different story, totally not the same. But this story is about a buffalo yak that prefers to smell flowers and doesn't really want to fight in buffalo yak fights. Again, definitely not the exact same story of Ferdinand the Bull. And it's kind of ironic that this is Kiona's favorite childhood story because she is the opposite of all of that. She wants to get in the middle of the fights. She can't idly sit by. Not to say that Ferdinand was idly sitting by, but she is easily provoked to kind of act impulsively while Ferdinand, and maybe that is why she likes it so much, is because she aspires to be more like a Ferdinand who can sit by and have ideals and not be provoked into being impulsive and taking kind of like needless and aggressive action. Yeah, that's Kiona.
Very cool.
Hope I answered all the questions.
Yeah, I just Googled what a buffalo yak looks like in Avatar, and they look pretty sick.
Yeah, they're kind of cool.
Christian, introduce your character.
So I am playing Uzurdi Taro, and Uzurdi is the adamant. So Uzurdi has a balance, which I'm sure we'll get into, with both ends of his balance being restraint in results. So kind of conflicted, pulled back and forth between those two things. Uzurdi is 17 years old, so not quite an adult, but ready to create his own path. And this kind of comes from a history of growing up in politics and military, living in a kind of strict environment. His father held a high seat in the military as military advisor for Fire Empire. During his childhood, he lost his mother, and that was his original lodestar, kind of northern star, kind of pointing him on his way. So, yeah, so he's kind of searching, a little lost, but you wouldn't really reveal that to you, as he's very standoffish and kind of a perfectionist. But he's looking for another lodestar, and he might have found it.
Very cool.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, I would say his favorite fable slash fairy tale would probably be the story of the tortoise and the hare. Yeah. So.
Any particular reason why?
Well, slow and steady wins the race, unless you're cutting. But so it depends on how you look at it. But results, and because of that, results, can be obtained in many ways. Sometimes through cutting, but sometimes through being meticulous. So
Nice. Well, now that we've... Oh, Spencer, do you have something you want to say?
The Rabaroo and the turtle duck.
There you go. Can turtle ducks fly?
I don't think so. I think they got big giant shells on their back.
Oh, are those the
Avatar
equivalent?
animals,
Okay,
yeah.
sure. Yeah. Definitely those. That's
Apparently there's
Oh,
also turkey ducks.
Turkey ducks?
Yeah.
In Avatar?
Yeah.
Interesting.
It looks like turtle ducks don't have wings.
Yeah, I'm
They
looking
have
at
the
it. Oh, wait, nope, they do.
They do?
Well, a young turtle duck belonging to a variant species showcases its wings. So some of them have wings.
Okay.
Whatever.
Well,
Anyway.
I mean, penguins have wings. It doesn't mean they fly, though.
Yeah,
That's a good point.
turkeys don't fly, right? So
Turkeys
Yeah.
do fly.
Do penguins have wings or flippers though? Are they wings or flippers?
They're still wings, technically. They use them as
I've
I've
flippers.
never seen a turkey fly.
Thanks,
we
Dr.
sure?
Sindelar.
Yes,
Not like
doctor.
the commercial ones, but like there's wild turkeys. They definitely fly.
Yeah.
So anyways, back to Avatar.
Okay. So now that we've all introduced our characters, Avatar Legends has a neat little pre-game exercise where the whole group together comes up with an inciting incident. It's kind of a collaborative exercise where we all go and tell our collective backstory, how everybody came together as a group and established what they want to accomplish together. We did that together last session, I think 3 weeks ago, maybe. And I wanted to give us a chance here to go back over that and retell it. Does anybody here want to retell Act 1 of the inciting incident? 3.
I'll
2.
do it.
Spencer.
Yeah. So in Act 1, Kiona was out in the market looking for you're looking for somebody to pickpocket, right? So
Yep, someone who wouldn't notice.
yeah, and you found someone and you went to go pick their pocket. And Song, Justin's character, saw that, and you're like, no, I'm gonna stop this, right?
Yep.
So
If you want, Spencer, I have it posted in the Discord if you scroll up a little bit.
oh, perfect. Then I'll read that. Okay, here we go. Decides their money is better spent with her. Perfect. Song notices this happening and does a small earthbending move to trip up Kiona's victim, stopping the pickpocketing. A group of anti-corruption task force members sees this and reprimands both of them and accuses them of criminal activity. Sapa inserts himself into the situation by claiming to be a high-ranking criminal and saying they should be let go or face consequences. Because you showed up and were like, I'm a part of the Dow, right, Dan? Dow Fei. Donna
The
Dow
Dow-
Fei.
Yeah, I was like, I'm like the top ranking Don of Dao Fei from the other side of the city. Let's you don't want problems with me, okay?
Hey, hey, FBI, don't mess with that person because I'm Mafia. Just saying that.
Then Ting uses his airbending to blow the task force member clothes in their face. Like, I blew their robes up in their faces, and I was like, come on, guys, follow me. So I got Kiona, Song, and Sapa's and I led them down an alley to escape. And then Azuri, Christian's character, you saw this go down, and you followed us down that alleyway. And that was Act 1.
Very cool. Anybody want to read Act 2?
Sure.
Go
I
for
got
it,
you.
Dan.
All right. So we're looking at Act 2. Well, I'm scrolling past the photos of Ashley graduating. Okay. Act 2. Sometime later, the group is getting lunch at a local restaurant when the anti-corruption task force bursts in and they start accusing the owners of criminal activity. They're demanding that the owners pay up, or they'll be taking them to custody. Uzuri, still following the group, sees this happen and attempts to defuse the situation using his status as a Fire Nation transplant. The situation settles down, but the group follows the task force back to their office and see Yang giving the orders, causing the rough activity of the anti-corruption task force. So basically, we saw the captain like giving orders to like shake people down for money.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Anybody want to read the conclusion for the inciting incident?
I can.
Go for it.
So Act 3, Kiona, furious about what she has learned, goes to a local task force base and vandalizes one of the walls. Unfortunately for her, she is caught in the act. Uzuri had trailed her to the base and rushes back to the rest of the group to inform them, revealing himself to them. The rest of the group goes to rescue Kiona, but they are in over their heads and are in danger of getting everyone put in jail. A thief, Meng Yao, was about to attempt to break into a nearby merchant's house, but takes pity on the group. She uses her archery skills to disable the task force members, allowing the group to get away safely.
Very cool. So that's how you guys all came together, and learned how to collectively dislike the anti-corruption task force.
Yep.
Some interesting stuff there. Now, once you kind of have your characters an inciting incident in Avatar Legends, everybody's playbooks, like their class, has a couple connections that gets formed. All the playbooks have 2 different ones, and they kind of represent different things and how they feel about different members in their party. We want to kind of go over that real quick so everybody kind of knows how everybody's related and like thinks of their fellow adventurers. Christian, why don't you start? Give your connections to everybody.
Sure. So my first connection is with Song, and that is Song takes issue with my methods. Perhaps they have a point, but I certainly can't admit that to them. And then the second, as I alluded to earlier, is Ting is my lodestar. Something about them makes them the one person I let my guard down around.
Because I'm adorable.
Just the innocence.
Mm-hmm.
You remind me of my mother, Ting.
Justin, why don't you
Zari's
tell us
mom.
your connections?
My connections are. Hold on, I'm going to that part on my character sheet. Is that under details?
Yeah.
Thank you. My connections, yeah. Uzuri scoffs at me and my plans, but one day I'll show them what I can do. Which I really just is. I feel like that's, if you're looking at it objectively, it's a little just internalization on Song's part. Uzuri's probably fine with them. Kiona has a pretty good head on their shoulders, and they're a great sounding board for my ideas. You know, she's a thief, but you know, I think she can see the right path.
Aw.
She's smart. She's smart. She just uses her powers for evil instead of good.
Yeah. Spencer, why don't you go next?
Yeah, so my two connections, the first one is I recognize some of the pain felt inside of Sapa. I'm gonna try and help them. which is funny because as we discussed in session 0, Sapa tells many tales, and I full-heartedly believe in these tales. So I am all about trying to help Sapa through everything. And then the other one is Kiona frustrates me so much when they act without thinking about the consequences. And this happened because she actually rushed in at one point, just rushed in and kind of like put us all into danger because she rushed in. So like that actually came from like our inciting incident because I like my character's like, you messed up everything. What are you doing? So yeah, those are my connections.
Very cool. Ashley.
So Kiona, her first connection is to Uzari. Uzari is way too uptight, too trapped in themselves. They need to break some rules. And this is because Uzari is one of these Fire Nation guards, very, very trapped in this kind of straight and narrow pathway. And I'm like, he needs to loosen up a little bit. And then Song is amazing, and I hope they like me. Maybe they're worth playing it straight for. And this all happened also because of our inciting incident. I kind of realized that, you know, maybe Song's got a point. Maybe I don't have to steal. Maybe I can try and use my mischievous talents for a better purpose.
Nice. Dan, finish us out.
Yeah. So real quick, I also just wanted to touch because I totally forgot to mention my playbook when I was introducing Sapa. And for some reason, oh my god, hold on. Freaking okay. So yeah, I'm playing the pillar. Pillar is all about like being like the leader, right, of the group. And my two like principles are support and leadership. So that's the balance there. Just wanted to touch on that real quick.
Yeah.
My two connections are Kiona doesn't really respect my accomplishments. They probably need a lesson or two, right? And I'm thinking that it's probably because Kiona can sniff out the BS, right? like she knows that like she's been around, right? She knows that I'm not telling the truth, I would imagine. And my other connection is King seems like they would have been a good candidate to be part of my squad. I'll look after them. Young, gullible, probably would have been like one of the, the kids following me around on the other side of Bossing Sea. I see that, but there's also like, he's good, he's got a good heart. He's got potential. All right. He could be a part of my crew.
Very cool.
Sorry, I also forgot to talk about my playbook. I'm sorry.
Go over it.
I'm playing the idealist, and my balance track is forgiveness versus action. But yes, anyway. And my pronouns are he, him.
Nice. All right. So with that said, our characters introduced, our inciting incident set up. I want to go over how the game actually plays for a little bit before we actually kind of get into it. Avatar Legends is kind of set up like most RPGs, where it's run by a conversation. I, as the GM, will kind of be like playing the NPCs and stuff, voicing them, bringing them to life, telling the various scenes as they start. And all of our characters are going to be just describing what they do, having conversations and stuff. Where the mechanics come into play is when characters trigger what Avatar Legends and other Powered by the Apocalypse systems call moves. If they are trying to, say, like, threaten someone and get them to pay attention to them or change their ways, they might trigger the Intimidate move. Or if they're trying to, like, get away from someone and there's a jump coming up, and maybe they're not sure if they can make it. Maybe that's kind of pushing your luck. Or if they're trying to just help someone out with something, that could be help. You aren't necessarily like taking them as actions like you would in like a D&D type game. They're more things that kind of like get triggered as a byproduct of role playing when there's uncertainty about an action happening. Everybody generally rolls like 2d6 when these moves triggered, and rolling 7 to a 9 is generally like a normal success, and above that is a major success and comes with some bonuses. In addition to all of the general moves, each character's playbooks have some specific moves that they also have, but overall a fairly simple system that's really focused on getting the story right and putting the story out there. And just kind of like letting the mechanics take a back seat for the most part. I, as the GM, don't even roll any dice. Any dice being rolled are all being rolled by the players, which is very interesting. Anybody have any like rules questions or any like rule stuff they want to go over before we get into the actual game part of the game? Doesn't seem like it.
Okay.
Very cool.
I'll
All
ask
right.
if something comes up.
Yep. As things go up, we'll kind of be going over it. So like the first time anybody does one of these moves, we'll probably pause, read the rules, and go over it and kind of describe how they all work as they kind of come up. So I want to get into the actual start of the game. With that, I'll change everybody over to their actual characters. In my fun little overlay here, and want to go over kind of the events that happened right before the story took place. So we went over the inciting incident, and that happened however long ago, probably a few months, maybe a year or so. And the group had been kind of like doing their own thing in the meantime. They've been looking after their neighborhood, helping out where they can, maybe getting a little bit too involved with some things. And over the next few months, see here, Song, they continue to run into Meng Yao. That's where I leave off. The woman who got them out of some deep trouble after Kiona went to do some vandalizing. Song, you even let her use your place as a safe house sometimes. If Meng Yao gets into a little bit of trouble. You guys keep trying to convince her to give up her thieving ways. And you guys think you're making progress. Even one time you guys convinced her to give up on her plans to steal the Emerald Crown, a very important artifact used in the coronation of whoever the current Earth Monarch is. I should probably know that, but I don't. But during one of these incidents, Rangi, advisor and partner of Avatar Kyoshi, was present. She was about to step in, but you guys all intervened instead. You didn't realize she was there, but she was. Things start to escalate to violence, and a small riot ensued in the market square. You guys all rushed to protect a group of children that were accidentally caught in the crossfire. Guards were throwing rocks, citizens were throwing rocks, probably some other elements were being thrown around. Very dangerous. And you were all injured in the process. Song, you were even blinded, from what I hear.
I lost my glider.
Yeah, Tang, you lost your glider. It got all tore up, and like who knows? Like nobody in the Earth Kingdom knows what a glider is. They're not going to be able to fix it. They don't know how to make paper. Is it made of paper?
Partial paper, partial. It's mechanical and stuff too. It's a lot.
It's a lot. Long story, but your bravery and heroics managed to impress Rongi, and it even caused a little bit of a change of heart in Meng Yao. She realized that things are getting a little too bad, and she might need to finally put away her selfish thieving ways and maybe put her skills to better use. A short while later, you guys are all called back to that same market by Rongi, and she has a request for you all. And with that, I think I'm going to set up the first scene of the game, and we'll actually start playing. How does that sound to everybody?
Ooh, let's get to
do
it.
Okay. So this adventure starts with Rongi meeting you all to help find Meng Yao. Rongi informs you that Ambassador Quinn, a local, a Fire Nation diplomat, her children were kidnapped. And on the scene of the kidnapping were the signature arrows of Meng Yao. And the people believe that she was the one to kidnap these kids.
Meng Yao would never.
Well, she has in the past.
She doesn't kidnap children.
Well, I mean, if she feels like it now.
I mean, but like, what's the child in this era?
Honestly, probably like 13, 16, something like that.
But she's also, in addition to helping to find these children, she also asks you to keep the lower ring of Ba Sing Se stable while she leaves to alert the Avatar of what's going on. These kids have been kidnapped. The Anti-Corruption Task Force is using this as yet another excuse to crack down even heavier on the citizens. And things are kind of boiling up behind the scenes. So, with that, we'll get started with the actual gameplay part. I've set up the scene. Rongi has called you all to the little market, and she goes into her explanation. How to begin this? I don't have a Rongi voice. She was only in novels, so I don't think she was ever voiced, unless there was an audiobook I didn't listen to.
Or man, we don't know
Yeah.
how she sounds either.
Yep.
Yeah, you make it up.
But so I remember being there when you guys all stepped into to quell that little, I don't want to say riot, but you handled yourselves well, and I could tell that you have your community's best interest in mind, and I think you guys might be the ones to help keep the peace while I'm away. I don't need you to fix anything. I'm sure the Avatar will be able to help out when I can get here, but make sure things don't go too crazy while I'm gone. I can set you up with a meeting with Ambassador Quinn if needed, if you want to go talk to her. But I'm sure you guys have some ideas of where to start. You reacted pretty strongly when I mentioned that Meng Yao is the main suspect.
Yeah, we thought she was doing good. It's
I
hard to
don't think
believe
Meng
she'd
Yao
do
would
something
do
like
that.
this. Yeah.
I don't think she would do this. I think it's perhaps she was
What?
trying to save the kids.
What is the evidence that Ming Yao did it?
Yeah.
Her
It's her
arrows.
arrows.
Well, I mean,
Were all over
her
the
arrows
scene of the
were
crime.
all over the scene, and she's a pretty well-known criminal.
Well, Rongi, but answer me this, because I don't know anything about bows. But can't anyone shoot arrows?
Anyone can shoot arrows, but only she uses the fancy trying to pick two animals, otterhawk feathers as her fletching.
Yeah, those are pretty distinct.
Yeah, but anyone could
Get those.
make
I mean,
arrows like that, right, Rongi?
I mean, I suppose,
Anyone-
but you'd have to
could.
be able to catch an otterhawk in the first place, and there's not many people skilled enough to do that. What makes you so sure that
Oh.
that
No particular
No,
reason.
we're not sure of anything. We just want to make sure there aren't other suspects.
But like innocent until proven
okay?
guilty, right? Thought this
Does
was America.
sorry?
Mangi have enemies?
Meng Yao has plenty of enemies, I'm
Yao.
sure, given her history as a thief. I'm sure she's pissed off plenty.
Is there any motivation though for?
Yeah. Why would
There's no evidence that she
Yao.
participates in trafficking of children.
right?
okay.
She's a thief.
Some people sometimes they get pushed further. They start off with petty crime and it escalates. I'm not familiar with her, so I don't know what trouble she may be going through.
I turned to Uzari and I'm like, hey, isn't this aren't you supposed to be one of the guards for this ambassador? Were you there?
Unfortunately, I was off chasing after you. I think it would be best, even being around the diplomat. I mean, I overhear some conversations, but I don't know everything still. I think it would be best if we talk.
Yeah, so it sounds like we might have our own leads, but Rangi, you said something about introducing us to somebody else?
Yes, I could set up a meeting with Ambassador Quinn before I leave. I do need to go find Kiyoshi wherever she is at the moment. But if you have some questions for the ambassador, I'd be happy to set up a meeting with you.
I think that'd be great, especially since she's probably the only witness. Are there any other witnesses?
Not that I know of. I mean, she wasn't present for the kidnapping. I don't know if anybody was. It was kind of a cover of night situation. Nobody was really around. We woke up, kids were gone. Very tragic.
And where did this kidnapping take
Would
place?
anyone else want to? Oh, sorry. Actually, or
Fiona was just asking where it took place.
Yeah, I mean, they were kidnapped out of their current residence in the Upper Ring. She's been pretty involved in Earth Kingdom politics, so she's been staying up there.
would anyone else want to kidnap the children?
I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of enemies.
We could ask the ambassador.
Yeah, good question for the ambassador.
Yeah, the ambassador might have some other ideas, but people seem to be pretty keyed on Meng Yao, given her arrow at the scene and not much other information to go on.
Yeah, but anybody could have fired those.
I guess you fire an arrow.
Yeah, I kind of like maybe try to nudge Rangi, like, haha, fire, arrow, get it?
Yeah,
She seems less than pleased.
if I've learned anything about the Fire Nation is that you can't always believe what is said. I think we need to look into it further.
Mm-hmm.
And press Quinn.
Well, I'll certainly be off. You'll hear from probably one of her guards, Uzuri. I'm sure they'll get into contact with you to get in touch. But I really do need to be going. And as she says that, a group of guards dressed in the telltale green of the Earth Kingdom brush past a shopkeeper into one of the stalls, and Rangi rushes off.
You got it in good hands, Rangi. Yeah, we'll take care of it. Okay, and she's gone.
All right.
Guys, we know where Meng Yao is, right? So Meng Yao, we can go talk to her about this, right?
Yeah.
Well, Song, when's
I
the
think that
last
would
time
be
she hung
best.
out at your place? Song?
When is the last time she? Oh yeah, because she would have been there right after the that went down, probably. Because she would have known there would have been some heat. let me think back. What was the date they said she kidnapped those kids? Was it one kid or two kids?
So 3 days ago, the kidnapping happened, and this might be a neat little moment for me to go over a special rule for playing in this era. In the bossing or in the supplemental book, the Wan Shi Tong's Adventure Guide. In this little adventure we're playing, there's a special move that's described called Flashback in Ba Sing Se. When you flash back to a prior exploit or incident you experienced in the location, neighborhood, or district you've just entered, you mark fatigue and roll with modifiers. Basically, it lets you kind of run a flashback and play through a scenario, kind of like a scene that's already happened, and kind of like establish some details that you may want to be useful. I think it's borrowed from Forged in the Dark, one of the first Powered by the Apocalypse game. It's kind of like a heist-esque system, and you kind of flash back to set things up. If that's something you guys want to do, we can go over the rules for that, and kind of flash back to maybe the last time you saw Meng Yao.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. Let's do that. That sounds very useful. Okay, so I mark fatigue on my character sheet.
Yeah.
We all do that?
We'll just say
Fatigue
that Song is doing the flashback right now, since it might have just, well, if he wants to pull anybody else in, but it was his place, and it might have just been him, some other people might have been involved. But so yeah, Song, you mark fatigue, which is kind of like health in Avatar Legends. Every character you have five fatigue, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you fill that up,
it works a little bit like mana and a little bit like health.
Yeah, it's kind of like just a measure of how much effort you've expended, and like whether that's like by doing things or even like taking hits, your fatigue will fill up. And if you start to exert yourself past being in full fatigue, you start to get some other conditions. Maybe you start to be a little pissed off. Maybe you feel troubled about things, and that can affect your rolls in other ways. But Justin, you're gonna roll. This is the first time you're using the move this session, so that's fine. Is this place a relatively peaceful part of the city? Song, do you live in a nice peaceful part of the city, or do you live in?
It's poor but peaceful.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So no modifiers there. You definitely blend into. You definitely match and like belong to the place. So you can take +1 since like it's your own neighborhood. And were you a known ally of the dominant power in this place at the time of the flashback? Yeah.
I don't know. So, yeah, 3 days ago, we've been running around and like, getting cats out of trees and keeping the neighborhood safer than it was, right? Because that's like also part of it now. Like it is safer than it was because of us.
Yeah. So we'll give you that +1 too. So when you roll, add +2.
Okay. And it's 2d6, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and for those of us, so any new viewers that we have, when we say 2d6, a D just is shorthand for die, and then you say the number of faces that the die has. So a D12 is a die with 12 faces, D20, so forth. So I am going to roll, and what did I get at? I'm not in the right section in roll 20. All right, well, 8. Because I get to add in +2, right?
Yes.
And I don't have like a stat I'm applying to it, do I?
It doesn't look like it for this one. This move is just your straight.
All right. Did we say an 8 is a success?
Yes.
It's set. Yes.
7 to 9 is a typical success.
Yeah. Soft.
All right.
Soft hit.
Squeaked in there because of the +2. Nice. All righty. That's fun. I like games where +2 is very meaning.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's fun. Okay. So.
Flashing back, it's 3 days ago. Song, you are hanging out at your place, and Meng Yao kind of comes in.
Okay.
She Meng Yao is like, she comes in, is like, oh man, thank you so much for letting me lay low here. Nice place to get away, and the the authorities keep finding all of my other hideouts. I had to scrap the last one. So
Oh, no problem. Can I get you some tea? I learned how to make it Fire Nation style when I was living right by the where the archipelago trails off in the Earth Nation when I was leaving the orphanage. Very good tea.
yeah, I'd love some tea. That sounds great. Got a big day ahead of me. And on a hit. So Justin, since you succeeded, you get to choose one of these three things. You either like made a local friend. You can like name an ally in this place who likes you and will help you. Probably someone other than Meng Yao. You found a resource that can be of use to someone you know. Or you learned something important here that now seems useful. Ask the GM a question and they will answer it truthfully. And you say how you overheard, discovered, or spied that information in your flashback.
Okay. Can I confirm with the group what we want to do, or is this just kind of like on me? I got to make.
You can ask the group.
Myself. So I get a piece of information, which, I mean, within reason. You can't just ask if Meng Yao did it.
Did you do it?
Well, so that in the context of the flashback, that hasn't happened yet.
Oh, okay. Oh, how many days ago did we say the flashback was?
3.
This is 3 days ago. This is probably the day before that the kidnapping happened. Like the kidnapping happened overnight.
Yeah, the afternoon before it went down. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Oh, she said she had a big night though. Shoot. And I have what do you guys feel about a resource? I don't know what that could be. I feel like that's like a mystery box, but it could be good. It could be really good.
Maybe an item of hers that we could use to track her down or something like that.
Oh yeah, maybe we could maybe she left one of her actual arrows at my place, and we can compare it to the arrows I'm seeing.
Yeah. That'd be a good way to do that.
Can we do that?
Yeah, that could. Yeah. You rolled an 8, right?
Yeah, I rolled an 8.
Okay, so on a hit on a 7 to 9, something bad almost also happens. You encounter some trouble. So what I'm gonna do is while you were making your special Fire Nation style tea, some Dao Fei actually knocked on the door. You hear like the knock 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 open, and they kind of announce themselves as like. Or not the Dao Fei, I'm sorry. The corruption task force knock on the door.
Anti-corruption task force.
They knock on the door.
But they're called.
Ah, shit, it's the feds.
Yeah, the feds show up. And
Okay.
And they interrupt your meeting with Meng Yao.
Oh shoot.
And there may have been a little kerfuffle.
Oh, there's a kerfuffle? I didn't sneak her out the back.
And that could be like how maybe you got a hold of one of her arrows, right? Like you guys were in the middle of this conversation, like a nice little chill time, and the corruption task force shows up looking for her. But she, in like part of her trying to escape, she fires off a couple arrows and runs out the back to kind of distract them, and the arrows get left behind.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Shoot. All right. Yeah, that makes sense. All right. Well, my place is compromised now.
And I don't know if you guys are in roll 20 here. Maybe if I show to players, you guys can see what Meng Yao and the corruption task force dudes look like.
Oh yeah.
Oh nice. Did you make these?
Look like the
Yeah.
Lee.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Oh, I like Meng Yao. That's cool.
Yeah, these are really good, Dalton.
Yeah. All right. So we've done our flashback. A few days ago, Song, you got a hold of some of Meng Yao's arrows. And as you're kind of recounting this to the group, some of the commotion of the guard's intrusion rings clear through the quiet morning. You remember that there are some guards brush past some people and brush past some vendors back into their stall, and all of the other shop owners kind of retreat into their own shops, afraid to catch the guards' attention. The guards start kind of digging through pots. They start digging through wares, overturning pots, loud shouts. It looks like something may be going on. Maybe they're looking for something.
Should we go check that out, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I try to intimidate the anti-corruption task force into leaving one of these shop owners alone?
Yeah, if you want to. You guys are kind of like watching the task force overturn these pots, and like down the street, you even see a familiar face. You see Yong.
No.
Person giving the corrupt orders down the street. There's I think I clicked the show to players button so you can see a picture of him.
You did. This balding, bearded.
It's yeah, he doesn't have a beard. He's got what's that?
Mustache,
Oh, handlebar mustache.
which is worse.
No, I maybe made him look a little bit too much like a cop. My own biases are
like
showing.
I like it.
But you see him down the street, and you see a couple guards. They all look exactly the same. There's just like all of the guards look exactly the same for some reason. Maybe I didn't have enough time or motivation to make different guard models.
That's fine.
But they come up to the shop that you guys are in. You guys were just having a nice afternoon walk through the market with Avatar Rongi, learning about some kidnappings when some guards come up. And Kiona, you wanna maybe like snarl a little bit, tell him to piss off, tell him to get out of here, leave this shop alone, maybe.
Yeah, I just kind of want to be like, what gives you the right to start destroying these poor shop owners' things without a warrant?
They laugh at the concept of a warrant, first of all. But so you're trying to intimidate them. Sounds like you're trying to intimidate. Yes. So when you intimidate,
I roll with passion.
Yeah, when you intimidate an NPC into backing off or giving in, you roll with passion, one of your 4 stats as a character. So yeah, you rolled. Spencer?
No, I was just gonna say, because 7 to 9 is a soft hit, we said, and a 10 plus is a like a hard hit, right? Is that what it's called?
Yes. They choose one on a 10 plus. First, you pick one they cannot choose.
Yeah.
And
so Spencer, you wanted to do something?
Help.
I'm guessing you wanted to help.
Can I help?
Yes. Yeah. So helping, when you take appropriate action to help a companion, that person marks 1 fatigue to give them a +1 to their roll. This can't be used in a combat exchange, but it can be used for other things like intimidating. So, Ting, why don't you describe how you were helping Kiona be intimidating? How did you join in to try to get them to back off?
It's definitely not going to be directly. Whatever Kiona's doing, I'm like maybe like moving a little bit of air to kind of like make like an air of like importance around her, like billowing out her like cloak, or like I don't know, like helping out with like her water, seeming it more intimidating. I'm definitely not in the foreground or anything. I'm just kind of like doing that. So
like special effects in the background.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Kiona, you kind of described what you were doing to be intimidating, right? You were just trying to like tell them off a little bit.
Yeah, pretty much. Just kind of like getting all up in their faces, being like, "What gives you the right?" And then Ting kind of makes me even more intimidating with gives me this air of importance with his air.
Yeah.
Air of importance.
So that bumps your 9 up to a 10, which means I pick one thing and then you also pick a thing, right?
Yes.
Okay.
But it says first on a 10 plus first, you pick one they cannot choose.
Yes.
So I pick one first and then you pick a different one.
No, so you
is-
pick one of the 4 that the corruption task force people cannot choose. So they choose how to respond to this success, to you successfully intimidating them.
Mhm.
But you can pick one of those 4 things. Either they run to escape or get back up, they back down but keep watch, they give in with a few stipulations, or they attack you but off balance. I, as the GM, will pick one of those 4 things
Okay.
and how they respond, but you can pick one of the 4 that they definitely cannot pick.
Oh, I understand now.
Oh, you take an option off limit,
Yeah.
and Dalton, you pick from the remaining 3.
Correct.
Ah, okay, cool. That's a cool system.
Mm-hmm.
One outcome you get to take one outcome you definitely don't want off the table, and then the GM kind of decides how the NPCs react.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's very fair. I like that.
I think I don't want them to get back up.
Okay.
So I don't want them to run to escape or get back up.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah,
Okay.
they won't do that. They all stay kind of within this market stall. But they do post up. They look like they're ready for a fight. And for the sake of exploring some of the game's mechanics, we're gonna do a quick little combat.
Nice.
Ooh, first fight.
We'll say Kiona and Ting, you guys are the ones involved, given that Ting, you decided it was a good idea to help be intimidating in the background.
Yeah.
And this probably won't last too long, given the task force. They're not super strong.
I also have a question before we begin the battle.
Yeah.
I know last week we were going to talk about choosing techniques and everything. Did we choose our techniques?
Yeah, I asked you guys to pick all that stuff off camera
Yeah.
over the last couple weeks.
Cool.
Yeah, we should have one technique that is full
Mastered
learned, whatever,
and one learned.
mastered, and one learned.
Cool.
I think you come with one learned,
Mm-hmm.
or the mastered one is the one you don't really have a say in.
Yeah. So the way combat is structured, it happens in a series of steps in various exchanges. The first thing that happens is I will choose an approach for each NPC or group of NPCs in the exchange. The combat stuff is split up between defend and maneuver approaches, advance and attack approaches, and evade and observe approaches. Basically, everybody picks one of those 3 things, and that determines what order they kind of go in the situation. Once I secretly pick the NPC's approach, each player will then pick their own approach separately, and then I'll reveal what the NPCs chose, and the player characters opposing each other kind of reveal their secret approaches. Then we do all the defend and maneuver stuff, all the advance and attack stuff, and then the evade and observe stuff. And then we check if anybody lost their balance by like maxing out their fatigue and conditions. And there's an opportunity after this exchange for players to maybe role play out the rest of the fight, or maybe they want to move right back into the exchange. This is less like a kind of turn-based, we go back and forth with each person attacking, attack, playing out 6 seconds. And an exchange can be more than like that. Maybe it's a whole like 30-second sequence of some exchanged blows, or it's kind of like a long-running thing. Like think of it like maybe a whole fight scene in like a market, as opposed to just like one strike. Does that make sense to everybody?
Mm-hmm.
So thanks to Kiona and Ting's masterful intimidation, the task force, they're feeling a little off. Maybe they feel a little bit insecure in their authority right now. I mean, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5 people that look pretty good martial arts type stuff. look pretty decent fighters, and there's only 2 of them. So they're feeling a little bit worried, a little insecure. And how are you guys, Ting and Kiona? How are you guys going to approach this fight?
I'm going to defend and maneuver.
Okay. What about you, Kiona?
I was gonna try and do my technique, which is called sweep the leg. It's an advance and attack.
Okay. So you're choosing the advance and attack approach. You don't need to necessarily pick the exact technique you're using until it comes around to your turn and you roll and you kind of see what the results are.
I see.
But you're doing the advance and attack, and it looks like these corruption task force dudes, they're also going to advance and attack. They're looking for a fight. They came in, their authority was threatened. They don't like that. They're looking to put this down real quick. So first thing that happens is defend and maneuver stuff. Ting, that's you. So I need you to roll with focus.
Focus. Okay, so let me click. Oh no, my focus isn't very good. Okay, let's try this.
I thought Ting was evading and observing.
No, I'm defending. Oh,
Never mind.
that's a miss.
So on a
Think
miss,
focus is not very good.
on a miss, you stumble, but you can kind of shift your balance away from center to use one basic technique if you want to.
I'm good. I'm gonna hold off.
You're gonna hold off? Okay.
Well, I can shift it away from center. Does it? Okay.
It's
No,
it's
I'll
up
do
to you
that.
in what direction and what that means for you as a character. For people watching not familiar with the rules, each playbook has a balance track. All of the playbooks are pulled between 2 different ideals, and where their center is kind of shifts as you play the game. Ting, what's your balance track? What are your 2 ideals?
Forgiveness and action.
Forgiveness and action. So in this instance, since Ting missed his defend and maneuver roll, he could maybe shift Ting's balance maybe towards action in this case. I'm just suggesting where like he knows that he needs to step up in this situation and act anyway. But it sounds like he might not feel like that right now.
No, I am gonna do that.
You are?
Yeah. And
Nice.
now
for
I
it.
choose a basic technique under
Yes.
the defend and maneuver to
Yeah.
do, right?
Yeah, there's a few different options. You can either ready yourself.
Ready, retaliate, or seize a position.
Yeah, retaliate or seize a position.
I'm gonna do retaliate.
Okay. So each time a person inflicts fatigue, a condition, or shifts your balance in this exchange, you get to inflict 1 fatigue back on them. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now we're on to the advance and attack part of the combat. Tang, you post up, you're ready to strike back if anybody comes at you. Kiona, you're up. I noticed you already rolled earlier for your advance and attack, and you rolled a 10.
That was an accident, but if you're cool with keeping it, I'm
That's
happy
fine.
to.
We can keep it. You rolled it. So on a 10 plus, you can either mark 1 fatigue to use a learned technique, you can use 1 practiced technique, or you can use two different basic or mastered techniques.
Okay, I understand now. So, because I rolled a 10, I can use my sweep the leg.
Yes.
If I had not rolled a 10, I would not have been able to do that.
So that's your mastered technique, right?
I think so.
So when you've mastered a technique, it's always available to you on a hit. On a 7 to 9, you use one single basic or mastered technique. It's your learned and practiced techniques that you don't necessarily have a full grasp on, and you need to roll pretty well to actually use.
Okay.
But wait, Dalton, I have a question.
Yeah.
Based on what was said, does that mean Ashley, this turn, because she rolled a 10, does that mean Ashley can use her master technique of sweep the leg and a different advance and attack technique?
Yes, yeah, she can sweep the leg and also use one of the basic ones, strike, pressure,
Like
or
strike
smash.
or something.
Okay.
So
I'll do
yeah,
that.
so you get 2 moves, Ashley.
That sounds great.
Moves.
Well, I will sweep the leg first,
Mm-hmm.
And that says you attack where an enemy is weakest or most off balance. If your foe has a total of 3 or more fatigues and conditions marked, inflict 2 fatigue. If your foe has fewer than 3 total fatigues and conditions marked, inflict 2, but you must mark fatigue as well. So I believe they shouldn't have any fatigues yet.
Yeah, they only have
So
one condition.
So I would inflict 2 fatigue, but mark a fatigue on myself as well.
Yep, that sounds right.
Okay. So I did that, and then I get to do an additional advance and attack, and I don't have to roll because my 10 was already rolling.
You can strike, pressure, or smash since you're advancing and attacking. Or if you had another mastered technique, you could do that, but we only have the one.
I'm going to strike, which
Nice.
strike says strike a foe in reach, forcing them to mark 2 fatigue, mark a condition, or shift their balance away from center, their choice. I can also mark fatigues to hammer them with blows or strike where they are weak, inflicting a condition, but I'm going to let them choose to mark a condition, shift their balance away from center, or mark 2 fatigue.
Okay, I think they're going to choose to mark 2 fatigue. Right now they've got 4 fatigue marked, and the insecure condition.
An insecure is -2 to trick and resist shifting your balance.
Yep. So it's their turn to act. And NPCs, they don't really roll. They will always use a number of techniques equal to 1 plus their balance rating. And I get to pick which techniques.
Can you go over what a balance rating is?
Yeah. So do you see on your character sheet how you have your balance track?
Yep, where the fish are and your.
Yeah, and do you see like where it says like +1 and -1 along that track?
Yes, on the. Because there's 2 tracks.
Yes, NPCs only really have 1. They have 1 principle that you can move. You as players can actually move around. And to keep things smooth, you don't necessarily know what an NPC's principle are right away.
Sense.
Sometimes there's some moves that can reveal that to you, but you guys have dealt with task force before. You're probably familiar with their modus operandi. These grunts, what their principle is force. They care about force and like using their authority. And these guys, they're already kind of emboldened. They're in the middle of doing some mean force actiony stuff, and so they're already at a +1 on their balance track. You can tell that these guys are a little bit more active in their principle right now. So they're going to do 2 different things. The first thing they're going to do is surround. So the couple of them, they kind of like back you into a corner, and you guys close around a single foe, that being Ting. They see the small kid in the background, and they're like, that's an easy target. Every additional attack made on you during this exchange will inflict an additional 1 fatigue. Every attack made by a surrounding foe forces them to suffer 1 fatigue. So.
Oh, so when they hit you, Spence, they're going to take 2 fatigue because of your retaliation.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
But
I also take
mechanic.
Yeah, I'm also going to be taking fatigue because I have to take fatigue every time I inflict fatigue.
Yeah, you're about to get slapped up.
Oh wait, no. Each time a foe inflicts fatigue, inflicts 1 fatigue on that foe. Oh, I don't take any fatigue for doing that. Okay, well I still inflict it back, but still.
So if
and they're going to take 1 fatigue from their move.
Yeah, so they're going to strike. You can either mark 2 fatigue, mark a condition, or shift your balance away from center. You get to choose.
And if I shift my balance from center, it's probably going to keep going towards action, not back towards forgiveness, right?
Well, so if you already shifted away from center, you're now you can't shifting away from center means you keep going in action direction. Shifting away from
Yeah.
center doesn't mean shifting towards center. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. So this first strike, I will take 2 fatigue, and I will inflict 1 back from retaliate, I believe, right?
So if you choose to take the fatigue, their advance and attack, their surround maneuver, will make that 3.
3. Okay, so I'm taking 3 fatigue. Okay.
Yep.
And I inflict 1 back.
And then so they took a fatigue from using the advance and attack, and also an extra fatigue from your thing, which actually inflicts another condition on them.
Yes. I'm also at 4 out of 5 fatigue.
Because they're at 5 out of 5, and they're now insecure and angry.
And angry.
Yeah, they thought that they could pick on this kid, but he managed to fight back a little bit and get in a couple blows, and they're not too happy about that. So they're getting a little pissed off. They thought this was just going to be an easy run on this little market, but they're having a bad time. So that is the end of the first exchange. You guys have kind of an opportunity to either role play or like run right back into another exchange. The guards seem pissed off. They're mad. Do you guys want to kind of like say anything to them? Do you want to say anything to each other? Ask the group about stuff? What do you kind of feel?
So we get this kind of moment in between exchanges to kind of like talk? Okay, cool.
If you want to. Or you can just fly right back into the next exchange. Maybe use any moves in your playbook, if you have any that are relevant.
I would like to. I see that we are outnumbered. Well, I guess I was thinking about using the slippery eel hound, but it says it's when I defend and maneuver. So would that be something that would be like the next combat thing?
That would be in the next exchange, if you decide to defend and maneuver.
Did Fiona?
So can I do an is that the best you got, which is where I go to provoke an NPC into foolhardy action. On a 10 plus, they do it. On a 7 out of 9, they can choose one instead. They do it, but more intensely than expected. They do it, but more carefully than expected. They don't do it, but they embarrass. They don't do it, but only catch themselves at the last minute. On a miss, they are provoked to take harsh action directly against you in a way you're ill-prepared to counter.
Okay, yeah. So in this moment, you guys feel like you came out the winners of that first exchange.
Right.
And Kiona, you're kind of like you get a little smirk on your face, and you're kind of trying to goad them into some more foolhardy action. He's like, you guys aren't shit.
Yeah, exactly.
And are kind of trying to do that. So why don't you roll for that?
Okay. So for this, I roll with passion again. How'd I do?
That's a 12.
Oh, heck, it's a 12. On a 10 plus, they do it. They engage in the foolhardy action. So I was kind of like, come on, is that the best you got? You gonna take that from this 14-year-old with the mohawk? Are you kidding me? I was basically just kind of trying to goad them because I want everyone around to see that this anti-corruption task force is not all it's cracked up to be. And I'd like to think that with goading them into attacking these bystanders-ish, especially with one of them being a 14-year-old kid, that they'll start losing faith in the anti-corruption task force.
Yeah, that makes sense. Probably they get egged on, and they kind of like rush foolhardily to like turn around. They leave Ting, and they kind of like throw some bad punches your way, and you're able to kind of like maneuver right around them, and kind of embarrass them. You kind of I don't know, maybe you use like what's your water bending style?
I use appendages. So like like water whip them, or I can like, I don't know, kind of like how like octopus thing.
Yeah. So you
like
maybe like
whipping them with the water.
Yes,
each
that's
time.
perfect. I towel whip them with the water appendage to
yeah.
just embarrass them.
Yeah, so that kind of goes down, and they see you do some of the water whips and like towel whip them, and that actually gives them their final condition, afraid, and they kind of run away from this little market stall, ending the combat. They run away, tail between their legs. The 5 of you laughing, the shopkeeper feeling very appreciative, and with that, I think we're going to take a short little break. And we'll be back in probably about 5-ish minutes to continue on with the story. I think after this exchange, Rangi was probably able to get into contact with Quinn and set up a next meeting, if that makes sense for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
All right, cool. We'll be back in
Take a
about
little
5
break,
minutes,
come
everybody.
back at a different scene.
We'll see you soon, guys. Thanks.
Peace. Hello, everybody. We're back. Unfortunately, Dan had to step away, so I'm going to be doing some maneuvering of some cameras for a little bit, but I'll get it right back fixed. Would Ting, Kiona, Song, Uzuri, how are you guys feeling about that little fight? What are you guys kind of saying? You guys managed to chase off some guys in this little market stall.
I'm feeling very emboldened. I'm like, yeah, take that, anti-corruption scum.
I'm exhausted. I just had to fight off like, what was it, like 4 guys, and like.
Hey, you did well, buddy. You did.
Oh, thanks, Uzuri. Whew. Oh, I've never fought that many guys before.
Did I feel them run away? As he like as Song kind of like looks around and they're where it was. I felt a lot of rumbling, and then I felt little pitter patters. They just run off. You let them get away?
I chased him away.
I know.
I
I heard you. I heard the trash talk. It was trash talk, right? That was just,
Oh,
that
yeah.
was the
It was definitely
It was
trash
awesome.
talk.
Oh my
You're
God.
good at it.
Well, I'd love to go over and try to give Ting a hug and
Aw.
guide and comfort them, because I know that they're feeling very fatigued. However, I don't know that I'm all that harmonious, so we'll see how this goes. So to
see how
guide and to guide and comfort, when you try to honestly guide and comfort another person, roll with harmony. On a hit, they choose one. They can embrace your guidance and comfort, clear a condition or 2 fatigue, and you may ask one question. They must answer honestly. Or they can shut you down. They inflict a condition on you, and you shift their balance in response. On a 10 plus, if they embrace your guidance and comfort, you may also shift their balance. So let me go here, try to roll with harmony,
There we go.
which I have a -1, so sorry.
I am going to embrace it, but I guess we'll see. Oh.
I
So-
miss!
So
Kiona talked good.
yeah, I like to think that like I go to accept your hug and I go, wait a second, and I like push you back and I go, this is your fault. I try to help you out and I thought you could talk them down, and instead you got us into a fight. Because I'm using my connection of you frustrate me whenever you act without thinking.
Well, I'm sorry. I just couldn't stand by while these poor innocent people were getting shaken down and having their wares destroyed.
Well, maybe I don't know. They could have had some reason why they were doing that, or we could have thought of something better than just rushing up to them.
Are you trying to call me out on my principle?
Oh, what are your principles again?
Survival and friendship.
Oh,
Because you're like, hey, you're not being a good friend getting us into street fights with cops. You jerk.
yeah. Actually, yeah, sure. I'm trying to call you to live up. I'm trying to call you out. I'm calling you out to live up to your friendship principle. So, does that mean I have to roll? When you openly call on someone to live in the principle, shift your balance away from center. Oh, wait, no, I don't want to do that.
Oh, you shift your balance.
Yeah. Then name and roll with their principle. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Okay, you don't have to.
One thing that I really like about this game is you don't really get to do stuff for free. Like when you're influencing another person, like it has an impact on you. Like you are exerting yourself. Maybe like you're shifting your balance. Like I don't want to say consequences for doing the actions, but like it makes it very clear that how you have an influence on others also kind of like reflects back on yourself.
Which I agree. I think that's really cool.
That is cool.
But I fixed all of our camera situations. If
Hooray!
Great.
Sweet. Oh.
Well, I tried to help Ting. Ting's mad at me. How's everyone? Does anybody else want to guide and comfort Ting to help get rid of his fatigue?
I'm pouting in a corner.
I mean, look, you have to roll harmony, right?
Yeah.
Look. A song is just really not about the talking.
The talking.
Not. You ever see you see Ted Lasso?
I have not, but I've been wanting to.
I've heard great things.
It's a good show. But yeah, I was gonna say Roy Kent. I forget what the actor's name is. But yeah, no, I sit there and I just kind of like, well, let's get you some salve. Tap his shoulder, kind of like hard, because song's like a big guy.
Yeah.
Very very Earth Kingdom. He's got that Earth Kingdom stock.
Yeah.
Big blocky.
Doc.
You know.
I shake a bit when you tap me on the shoulder. I'm like, ugh.
Yeah. Just boom boom.
What's,
No, but we should get you south.
So, Song, were you trying to comfort Ting?
Zari, can you comfort Ting? Are you harmonious?
Justin, you weren't going to try to roll?
No, I have a -1. I mean, all right. Here, I'll fine. I'll do it. I'll try.
I mean, if you're
I'm gonna guide and comfort. I'm gonna try. Oh,
full hit.
Does that include my -1?
Yeah, if you click it.
I think so.
Yeah, I clicked it.
If you like hover over like the gets a 10, you can see the full like equation it did and like what you rolled on the 2 dice. So you rolled a 6 + 5 - 1.
Oh, okay.
Magpie Games did a really good job with their like Roll20 integrations and character sheets.
Yeah. We should have a separate video on YouTube with a tutorial so you can teach other DMs how to do this. This is really cool.
Yeah, this is really cool.
Yeah. So a full hit. It's good fighting. I like that you're small and you can fight good.
Yeah, so on a 10 plus, if they embrace your guidance and comfort, Spencer, you first pick one of the 2 things, either like clear a condition or 2 fatigue, or you still have the option to shut you down.
No, I'm gonna accept it.
Okay, so you accept the guidance.
Yeah. 2 fatigue if I could.
Yeah, you're free to pick whatever. But since Justin got a full hit, you are free to shift their balance in return if you so choose.
Oh, loyalty and confidence are my ideals. Which again, I don't really think that these are conflicting principles. But
is Justin? So I shift Justin's, or Ting shifts Song's balance.
If they embrace your guidance and comfort, You may no. Okay, no, sorry.
Song.
Song, you get to shift. You get to pick and shift Ting's balance if you choose. So Ting took a couple things that maybe shifted him towards action. If you
Ooh,
want
all right.
to cool him off a little bit, you're able to do so as part of your guiding comfort.
I'm gonna tap him on the shoulder and be like, "You fought well, but don't be angry about this incident. This is Ba Sing Se. People are just trying to do what they think is right to get by. It's a tough city. It's big, and you can get lost. Make sure you remember that people are struggling. Dum dum. Let's get you some salve." And I'm gonna shift this center. I'm gonna shift this center back toward like forgiveness.
Perfect. I'm right at the center again then.
Very
That's
cool.
awesome.
Yeah.
I hear your word song and Ting kind of like goes like takes a deep breath in and blows out and goes, "You're right, Song. I'm kind of alone here as an airbender in this big Earth Kingdom city, and I have to make sure that I'm friends with everyone. And maybe Kiona really was just trying to stick up for the little guys. Okay, I'll try to forgive her.
Yeah. And you're not alone. You got me.
I do have you.
And you got this guy." And my little parrot comes up and like flies off and goes and lands on your thing, gives you like a little gross lizard lick on the face, but you're an airbender too, you probably like that.
Oh, I do
And
like
then
it. I'm
flies
like,
back to me.
aw.
Yeah, then flies back to me.
When I fix my glider, I'll have to fly with your iguana parrot sometime. Is it iguana
Yeah.
parrot?
Mm-hmm. I think so. Her name's Kiki.
I definitely look over to Kiona and I maybe do like a nod, but I don't say anything to Kiona.
That's fair.
While you guys are talking, the owner of the market stall you guys are in, he comes up and he hands you each like a plate of momos, some dumplings as thanks. And he gives you like a very stoic like thumbs up. He doesn't say anything, just like silently gives you some dumplings. Very cool guy. And you guys can all clear fatigue if you have one for the nice meal.
Ooh.
Nice.
Oh, yeah, at least
Yeah, I am very enthusiastic for the bow. I eat it voraciously and gratefully.
So I have a question, GM. What happens when you get 5 fatigue?
So when you fill up your fatigue, you have 5. Any more fatigue that's inflicted is inflicted as conditions.
Okay.
And once you have all 5 fatigue and all 5 conditions marked, you are thrown off balance and you're removed from the situation. Your character just like they have some internal conflict. They've just kind of like lost themselves and they need some time away to collect themselves, and they're not going to be helpful in whatever the current situation
For the
is
remainder of the
until one of those fatigue or conditions is cleared. There really isn't death in Avatar Legends. You don't have to worry about a character like dying or anything. But they can be removed from the immediate situation, if that makes sense.
That does make sense.
That's cool.
That's a cool mechanic. I like it.
Very cool. So, while you guys are eating, some people, we'll say like you guys eat pretty quick and get out of there with all of the dudes running around. There's some corruption task force stuff happening outside, and while you were able to kind of protect this one little stall, there's probably too many of them for you to go on a full crusade and fight them all off. So you guys kind of get out of there, get out of the situation, and head somewhere else. And it's probably a little bit later in the day, a couple hours have passed. You find some alley. I don't know, what's your favorite alley that you like to loiter around in, I guess. Whatever you guys do in your spare time.
Oh no, never mind. Sorry, I interrupted.
Oh yeah, what do you guys? Where's your group kind of been hanging out?
Song's house.
Yeah, for sure.
Song's house, yeah. Song's house is compromised right now, though.
Has
Song needs a new
Azuri
house.
been hanging out at Song's place too, or does it?
Yeah,
Uzuri
Uzuri's been with you guys and active, and you know about him since he went and got your attention when Kyoto got herself caught. If you remember from the inciting incident, he had been like tailing you guys and watching you guys up until that point. But that's when Uzuri kind of like came out of the woodwork and realized that like maybe you guys might be criminals, but you're not bad guys. You're not bad guys, but not bad guys kind of situation.
Yeah. Uzuri comes by for tea. We've been talking about how Fire Nation aid to this neighborhood can help.
Yeah. So you guys regroup at Song's place a few hours later, and some people come knocking at your door. Zoom in. And now these guys might look intimidating.
They do look intimidating.
But Uzuri, you recognize them. They're some of your Fire Nation comrades with Ton's guards, some of Ambassador Quinn's guards. They knock on the door. They're being polite. Like I said, they look intimidating because of their fancy pointy Fire Nation armor. But they're being nice about it. They're not like barging in. They knock and they knock once and you're free to answer the door if you want to.
Yes, I do so. And what, do they have names or?
Yeah, they have names.
Sorry.
Hey,
Pick some.
you guys.
Hey, good to see you again. Hey, you.
Uzuri, it's been too long, and they do like the hand clasp, the Rocky, like
Oh yeah.
like you guys like grab hands and you flex a little bit.
You mean from Predator? When
Predator?
Arnold
Yeah, I'm sorry, it's
and-
Predator. It's Predator. It's a different Sylvester Stallone thing. Sylvester Stallone and Predator.
No,
I think
it was,
of a different
it was-
thing.
Predator, that's Arnold. That's Arnold.
That's Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Carl
Yeah.
Weathers.
Rambo is.
80s,
Oh,
80s for sure.
No, I'm picturing. No, this is more like a Rocky situation where like Rocky Balboa and Creed, they're like on the beach, like just chilling, just being really close bros, jumping around, hugging each other.
And we're really extra close bros.
It was beautiful. It was nothing but beautiful, Justin. What that was beautiful, manly friendship. And they're happy to see you. They say, hey, we heard that you needed to meet with Quinn. You were going to look into the kidnapping.
Well, yeah, we're doing that now.
That's why we're here. We're here to come take you to the ambassador.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Reporting us to where he is, or it is a he, right, Quinn?
The ambassador is a woman.
Oh.
It's a
great.
girl.
I could use an escort, you see, because I'm blind. So I need you to take me there.
Yeah, Toph hasn't invented seismic sense yet.
Oh no, she has. I have. I can do it.
Song did it. He also learned from badger moles.
You adapted very quickly in these past few months. Damn.
He's talented.
Look, I'm blind. I want this thing.
So yeah, you guys go with the firebenders to see Ambassador Quinn. Excuse me. I can show you the ambassador.
Oh, hey, when we plan stuff, guys, I can give us bonuses to stuff.
Really?
Yeah, I have an ability called Here's the Plan.
Oh,
So-
awesome.
That's right. I think Dan used that when we practiced.
Just a quick start.
Yeah.
Nice.
My
So-
main stuff is can't knock me down, which is like allowing me to roll harmony for defend and maneuver in a battle. And whatever I can, which I can talk when I spend time talking to locals about their problems, I roll with harmony and I get some stuff. So
Cool.
So if I talk to locals, I get stuff.
So
Is this Tan?
you guys are escorted to to see the ambassador. Ambassador Quinn is the woman, and Ton is the man. Ambassador Quinn is a Fire Nation diplomat, and Ton is in charge of her bodyguards, and some of the local Fire Nation presence here. Uzuri, you definitely you recognize the both of them. Ting, Song, Kiona, whether or not you kind of like recognize them is up to you. If you guys are keyed into politics, you might, but if you don't really care about local bossing, say politics, you might not necessarily know who you're talking to. Does that make sense?
King definitely does
Yeah.
not.
So, Song knows.
Song knows. Kiona, what about
Song
you?
knows.
Do you think is Kiona keyed into the goings on?
Definitely not.
Definitely not.
Definitely not.
Well, Ambassador Quinn seems very, very thankful that you're here. He's like, oh, thank goodness. I'm just so worried about my two darling children. I haven't seen them in days.
It's your Ambassador. We are working to get we have some leads.
You do?
Oh well, we're exploring some avenues, but yeah, we have some things we're going to look into as soon as we leave here. Actually, I think we're more in the neighborhood now, so we can take a look at, where your children were taken, where the arrows are. We'd like to take a look at the scene if we can.
Oh, thank goodness. I'm just so, and she seems very distraught. She can't even like put a full sentence together.
Mm-hmm.
Ton kind of steps in and puts his arm on her shoulder and says, "It's okay, ma'am. You don't need to speak. We understand. I'll talk with them, and we'll see what we can do about this." And Ambassador Quinn kind of like nods, and she retires to her chambers.
Oh, Ambassador Quinn, do you have any super well known aside from the obvious suspect, Meow? Is there anyone else you can think of that would want to kidnap your children?
I mean, nobody by name. Trying to see if there might be anything she might know about.
Can't hurt to ask.
Yeah.
While this is happening, I lean over to Zuri and I go, "Hey, Zuri, have you met these guys before? They're a Fire Nation. You're a Fire Nation."
Oh yes.
I
know
I-
these.
sorry.
Okay. Now I just Uzuri replies, yeah, I know of these ranks. I've worked with them before on different assignments, and I don't know them super well, but we have close ties.
Ooh.
Quinn, she answers you, Song, and I'm sure that I've made some enemies in my time here, but I don't know of anyone specific. I definitely don't trust what Young has been doing with his task force, though. Ton can be more specific, but I do not like how he's treating everyone down in the lower rings.
It's rough for us, yeah. Okay, good. Well, we'll follow up and see if there's anything maybe going on with him. Thanks for your help. We'll go with Ton now and get onboarded.
Cool. Yeah, Ton. Quinn retires to her chambers, and Ton is like, so what do you know about the situation so far?
We know that the ambassador's children are missing. we know that there were arrows found at the site that have otter.
Oh yeah, I said otterhawk feather fletching.
Otterhawk.
Otterhawk. Yep.
Fletching. Otterhawk fletching. Um, that's what we know.
Mm. Are you familiar with Meng Yao? Are you familiar with her and her MO?
Yeah. Thief.
Mm-hmm.
Good at stealing high value goods. Hasn't done much lately. Word on the street is she's turned a new leaf.
Uzuri, what do you think about that? You're a promising young soldier. Have you done any digging into anything?
I'm still collecting my notes on everything that's happened here, but I did have a few questions for Ambassador Quinn, but since she retired, are you maybe able to answer in her stead?
I'm sure that I'm fully briefed on the situation. I should be able to answer any questions you might have.
I don't recall, but do you know how long she's been in Bossing Say?
Ambassador Quinn has been here for quite some time. I mean, she's been here so long that she does have a permanent residence. She managed to purchase some property in the Upper Ring. So it's probably been out of character like a few years at this point.
Has there been any recent work that she's done? Any policies? Anything within the politics of the Earth Nation here that hasn't sit well with the citizenry?
Has she made any unpopular policies lately?
I mean, none coming from her that I'm aware of. If anything, she's been an ally of the citizenry. She's been pretty discontent with the anti-corruption task force crackdown. She was initially supportive of it when Avatar Kyoshi set up the organization, but as soon as she was out of the city and the Earth King took over, things have not been going well.
Has she stood up to them recently in any way?
No, while she does hold these opinions, she understands that her position here is tenuous, and if she were to openly speak out against the Earth King, things may end poorly.
Mm-hmm.
She thinks that she might be able to do better good as long as she's here and not be replaced by someone else.
That's fair enough. All right. Still think Tong's worth following up a little bit more on. We can maybe follow him or something like that. What else do you know?
Well, I've been looking into things slowly, and I haven't been able to find much more than you. I don't know much about Meng Yao. She seemed to be a pretty low rent thief up until for pretty recently. You're right. I haven't heard about anything she's been doing, any crimes. I haven't seen any police reports come through related to anything that had her MO attached to it, but so she may be laying low for some reason. There are some other Dao Fei groups that have been on the up and coming. There's a mercenary group that I've been curious about. The Fanged Mercenaries. They tend, from what I've gathered, they don't tend to act on their own. They're kind of like hired guns for other Dao Fei groups. It seems odd to me. Not sure what their plans are.
In case they need like additional muscle.
Yeah. But I've been hearing about them more and more.
Anything between Tong and them?
Yang, you mean?
Yang? Yeah.
Yang is the anti-corruption task force leader.
That's how we. It's
how you pronounce it? Yeah, the yes. It's further back in the throat for you guys.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. My province has a weird accent.
I mean, I don't know about any connection besides Yang wants to put them down just like he wants to put down any other Dao Fei group.
All right. Okay. Anything else? Any leads? Any evidence? Anything weird you come across?
No, I haven't come across anything yet. We're trying to not cause too much of a disturbance. With the task forces trying to take charge of the situation here and maybe overstaying their hand a little bit, but we are working to find those children as well in the background. If I can do anything to help the investigation or look into anything, let me know.
All right, we'll do. We'll check in and let you know what we know. We're gonna go check out the scene. We're gonna go see where these arrows are.
Yeah, of course.
I have. Yeah. All right. Cool. All right.
He gives you directions on how to get to the tea house that they were taken from.
Okay.
Christian, I saw you wanted to, you looked at the assess the situation rules. Did you want to?
Yeah, I was curious on if I could kind of read the situation, and more so just Han with, you know, like if he seemed like he was being straight and and telling the truth and and things like that. So I was I was curious if that would be proper to use there. But
I don't know if that's assess the situation, because that's kind of like,
yeah.
Anybody have any ideas on what that might be? I mean, that's probably like rely on your skills and training, if anything.
Sure.
What does everybody else think? I'm kind of like looking at the basic moves. If like Uzuri is trying to get a handle on Tan, whether he's being straight, kind of like if for D&D terms, more of an insight check.
Yeah.
Like
you access the roll with creativity. 7 and 9 ask one question. On plus ask 2.
to me, when I've kind of watched other people do it, it seems like when it comes to like reading a face or something like that, it seems to be more like just role played out than anything else.
The other thing though is rely on your skills and training, overcome an obstacle, gain new insight.
That's what I was thinking. Why it'd be that
So
one.
you would roll with focus.
Yeah, well, and that makes sense because Christian, you're a diplomat, right?
Oh yeah.
Well, Christian's a guard for the diplomat, I thought.
That you could be using your training.
But read if he's lying to you. Yeah, I mean,
I know how to read them better than other people, right? Because I've been around and and experienced.
You've had to shake down criminals,
but yeah,
interrogate people.
I don't know. I guess, I mean, kind of depends what the game master.
I think in this case, especially given that rely on your skills or training says gain new insight in the text, that'd probably be the more appropriate thing. So Uzuri, why don't you describe like what you're doing, what you're how you're trying to do this while I guess Song and Tan are kind of talking. And then we'll get a focus roll from you to see how it goes.
Yeah, so Uzuri is more so an individual who likes to assess the situation from a little bit further back, right?
Mhm.
So while this conversation is happening, he's kind of just looking at his just the body language of Tons, and this is someone who holds rather high rank, and in managing the bodyguards and everything for this ambassador, right? So
Mhm.
um I should be able to know. I'm try and tell if something is off here with how he handles himself, right?
Yeah.
So that's really what Zuri's looking for. Um, Now, I'm sorry. Where can I go to access the roll for focus?
Yeah, I think if you go on your character
I don't
sheet,
remember.
Yeah, if
like
you
in
go
your
to your
journal.
character sheet and you just click focus, it'll roll for you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's
Well,
yeah, it's
there you
pretty
go.
solid.
Perfect. So you
Yes.
rolled an 8. In that case, so on a 7 to 9, you do it imperfectly. The GM tells you how your approach might lead to unexpected consequences. Accept those consequences or mark 1 fatigue. So while you're kind of like watching this, and you're familiar with Tan and like how he speaks and acts and stuff, and
Yeah.
you notice some undertones of guilt in what he's saying. You're not entirely sure what that means, or like what he feels guilty about, but he seems to be um, even more emotionally invested in this than you would think. I mean, he's been with Quinn for like 10 years at this point. He's like watched these
Yeah.
kids grow up as like her personal bodyguard. So, you kind of hear that a little bit on his voice, and he notices you eyeing him up and down. And he's like, Uzuri, what do you?
Yeah.
And he seems a little mad about you, like I am. Do you have something you want to say to your superior officer?
I'm um I'm just curious about how this happened under, your watch and everything.
Ooh, calling him out.
Oh
Um,
man! Oh man! Oh man! Oh man! Oh man! Oh man!
I
What is-
am somewhat rebellious, and
I mean, if you do, it sounds like you are openly calling on someone, and his principle is duty. So if you wanted to call him
He's
out
a
on
dude.
that, you're able
Man,
to.
all right.
where were you?
Yeah.
That's basically what Uzuri's asking.
I'm
So
not sure I understand.
okay.
Yeah. So you just roll 2d6. I don't know if there's like a way to just roll and like have it be fancy, but you just roll 2d6.
Okay. Yeah. And sorry, call someone out is do I add? Okay.
I don't think you add anything. It
Um,
just happens.
Yep. So it's just a 6.
Okay. So on a miss, they can demand you act in accordance with one of your principles instead.
Well, restraint is one of them.
Restraint is one of your principles.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said he kind of responds. He will say like, I was at the tea house and it was an abject failure in my duty as their bodyguard that they were kidnapped. But maybe Uzuri, you should keep your mouth shut sometimes and not be so disrespectful in a tense situation. and he will just do that. And you can either just kind of shut up at this point, or you can mark a condition to continue this line of discussion.
Missouri turns his back to 10, and as he does so, kind of rolls his eyes without him seeing, and leaves it there.
Mm-hmm. Sounds like you guys are going to probably make your way to the tea house where the kidnapping occurred at this point, right?
Yep.
Hmm.
Yep. Yes, please.
Okay. I don't have any.
No, I guess we'll find out when we get to the tea house. But is the tea house up and running again, or is it still like cordoned off? Like, has the scene been touched? Has the crime scene been interfered with yet?
It's been on lockdown. You guys are kind of making your way there. And
Making our way downtown.
You're under the impression that it's been roped off and is still hasn't really been touched, given there might still be some evidence around, and this kidnapping is pretty high profile.
For clarification, who is has control over the scene?
Over the tea house?
Yeah.
I'm gonna check. I don't think so, but you never know.
We're looking for the owner. Is that what we're doing?
Well, sorry. Having control over it, like actually roped it off, like is
I see. No, it's the task
Like,
force.
whose jurisdiction is it?
Yeah, the anti-corruption task force currently has jurisdiction over the crime scene.
I assume so, but at the same time,
yeah.
interesting.
No, they're the ones that have currently roped it off. Given your status, if Tan has given you a writ of permission to enter when you guys leave.
Yeah.
Do you guys kind of like talk about anything on your way to the tea house? Like, do you kind of...
Yeah, actually, I would like to. I think this is a good time maybe for this, or at least a time for this. I'm going to use my move. Here's the plan. So we're going to come up with a little plan for the crime scene here. And in case anything goes down at the crime scene and we have to hightail it out of there. And then I'm going to roll, then in game, I'm going to roll creativity once we kind of figure out what the plan is real quick. And anybody that's not on board takes away from the roll, so we should really kind of be in agreement here. But I get these on a successful thing. I get holds, which we can use to get out of a tight spot. Yeah. So on a we'll see what's going on, and we'll do more on the roll. But yeah, it's we're gonna try and get a get out of jail free card.
Very cool. And does anybody else have anything they kind of want to talk about, like go over?
Yeah.
Any prep? I know Song kind of went over like here's the deal if things start to turn, but
yeah.
Well, no. So we gotta So we're gonna go in. I have that arrow.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody needs to use their fully functioning eyes and look and make sure it's like the same color.
Yeah.
And stuff. I'm gonna smell them, because I smell better now. I feel like. And then we're gonna compare if they're actually the same arrow or not. What's up, buddy?
Hey, Stong. Here, can I see that arrow for a second?
Where are you?
I'm over here, buddy. Oh, yeah. Okay, and a little to the. Okay, thank you. Okay.
Okay.
Right. And I show everybody the arrow. I'm like, okay, this is her actual arrow. So let's Menyel's actual arrow. So let's all take a good look, and then we'll compare it to the ones that are in there. And I hand it back. I hand it back to Song, and I go, "Here, Song. Why don't you hang on to this?"
Okay. So I take it, put it in my like bag or whatever I have. Anyway, so if that's there, I'm going to stand in the center and I'm going to take my shoes off and I'm going to touch the earth. And if I feel anybody coming, I'll let you guys know so we can get out of there kind of maybe quicker. Other things that we want to look for, maybe if there's like disturbed earth, like obviously bended earth, that might be an indication that it was the Dauphe.
Yeah,
The
because
the
Menyel can't earthbend. She's like a big arrow person, archery.
Yeah. And just in case it's some internal strife, keep a lookout for burn marks on any of the wood or anything like that, in case it was an inside job from the Fire Nation trying to start trouble.
Can that be sure?
Okay.
Yeah. Once we get out of that, we're gonna take a look at the evidence, and then maybe we'll go back to Ton and let him know what's going on and see if he's found out anything else. On our way back to him, let's just keep an ear out, see if anybody says anything. But let's try and take this path back to Ton, or at least try to get. I do know of another. This isn't really my circle, so I don't really know this area too well, but maybe we should just head back to Ton right away, and we'll just take this path to get there quickest.
Okay.
Does that sound? Does anybody have anything else? We looking for anything else? We trying to do anything else?
I was thinking about assessing the situation in the tea house
Mm-hmm.
and see.
Yeah, we can
Can I do
cut to you guys walking
once
up
we
to the
get
tea
there, we're
house
all
now.
going to investigate.
Yep.
But this is just like the general plan for right now, so I can
Yeah.
use this move.
Yeah.
We're just
Oh,
talking.
yeah.
If nobody else has
we-
anything else, like on the way to the tea house, we can cut to the scene at
We
the
can
tea
cut
house.
to the tea house. I'm good with that.
Okay.
Sweet. Okay.
I'm good too.
All right. Cool.
Hit.
So I get a hit on a 7 to 9. So 7 to 9, hold 1. You can spend your hold 1 for 1 while the plan is being carried out to overcome or evade an obstacle, create an advantage, or neutralize a danger. If any of your companions abandon you while the plan is underway, you must mark a condition. On a miss, hold 1, but the plan goes awry. But so I hit. So 10 plus, I get 2. But okay, cool. So we got the ace up our sleeve. And we're at the tea house now.
Yep. Yeah, you guys walk up to the tea house. It's roped off. You see some people. You see some anti-corruption task force people. There's only like one person there. It seems like they've done most of their investigating. Kiona, did you want to assess the situation now, or kind of like when you get inside? I know that
I wanted to get inside first.
You want to get inside first? Yeah, yeah. So there's like one guy who's just kind of like, it looks like he's more standing guard than currently investigating. Does anybody go up and talk to him, or do you just try to like walk straight past him?
Just flash the writ.
Yeah. Yeah, Uzuri, you're kind of leading the way. You flash the papers. He's honestly like half asleep. He probably doesn't even like. He's just like, and like waves you through. You guys are acting confident enough. You have your clipboard. You've got your safety vest.
Well, I'm not certain this crime scene hasn't been altered at all.
And you get inside. Kiona, it sounds like you wanted to kind of get an overview of the situation.
I did. Is that something I should roll for now?
Yeah.
All right, Kiona. We'll roll. To assess the situation, I roll with creativity.
That's a hit. You get to
What happened?
ask me one question of the 5, or if you
Mine
can think.
says it's a miss.
She got a 4.
I'm looking at a different thing.
You're looking at songs?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't scroll down.
So you assess this to be on a miss. It just looks like you don't do it.
Yeah, it's like
I just
nothing
don't do
happens.
it.
You don't get any inspiration to kind of
I'm like, nothing looks interesting here.
You get
Yeah.
distracted?
Can I? I'm gonna ask Kiki, sniff around, see if you smell. You know what she smells like. She's been over. See if you smell her. And I like shrug them off, and I'm gonna actually feel the door. And what I want to feel is around. I'm assuming that this door had a lock. Oh no! Well, it's a tea house, so it would have been like a publicly open business. Never mind.
Yeah.
Do I smell char on the doorway at all?
Well,
Smell
that's
char
probably a skills and training, I'm guessing. So
Okay.
why don't you roll that, and we'll see. You're trying to right now. What exactly are you trying to figure out? We'll say like one thing.
I'm trying to see if it was a. I mean, like the other characters will probably be better at this, but like I'm trying to be helpful because we're looking for things. I'm a blind man looking for things at a crime scene.
Yeah.
I'm just trying. So I'm seeing if I smell kind of, burned
Burnt.
wood anywhere, if there's like a noticeable, because if it was firebenders, they would have been,
Yeah, there'd be
And
scorch
there'd be-
marks.
there'd be scorch marks or something like that.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to see if I can, smell any of it. I'm just kind of, walking around. It was in the tea house. Hey, and then if I don't smell anything on that first pass, I'm just gonna kind of sit down at a stool and ask, hey, can someone bring me one of the other arrows? Hey, can someone find the arrows so we can compare them?
I'll pick
try to
one
do
up with my water bending so that I don't get fingerprints on it. Not that I know that that's a thing.
So let's roll songs,
about it.
skills and training to see if he finds any trace of firebending around here first.
Is that just 2d6?
That is, I think there's a score. Focus. You roll with focus.
I roll with focus. Oh, cool. Well, I get +1 to focus.
Can
Nope.
I was gonna help, but a +1 isn't gonna get him up high enough.
No,
Nope.
it's only really good if they get a 6 or a 9.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you don't really get
Um,
anything one way or the other, firebending wise.
So I'm sorry if you already said this, but looking around, is there many people in this place, or is it mostly like a cleared out crime scene right now? There's
It's a
just the
cleared
one
out
guard
crime scene.
outside?
There was really only
Yeah,
the one
okay.
task force guy out front who's like kind of
Yeah.
keeping watch to make sure nobody fucks with anything.
Okay.
yeah.
Do we find the arrows though? Like, do I find some of the arrows that were apparently used?
Yes, yeah. There's some arrows around.
I'm gonna pick that up and take it over to Song.
Yeah, you do so.
Oh, I've taken off my shoes so I can sense wind, so I get that earth sense going.
Do
I might just
do-
not wear shoes.
do the people who can see
Mm-hmm.
notice any differences between the two arrows, or do they seem to be similarly made?
I think that's probably another rely on your skills and training.
Okay.
To kind of like try and key on any differences between the arrows.
And that is focus. Should I go ahead and I get a -1,
Who
but I
has
can do it.
who has high focus? Wait. Ashley, do you have good focus?
I think I have like a 0 also.
Okay, well, 0 is better than -1.
Yeah,
Christian,
there's
what about you?
No, I have a
you're-
1.
you're a-
I have a 1 to focus.
Oh, you have a 1 to focus.
Yeah, you +1.
Yeah, +1, and then why not help her out, Christian?
If
Give her a +1.
Yeah,
if it does well.
yeah, you can roll it.
Oh, there we go.
Christian,
Did it
will you
do
help
well?
her?
Help her. she'll get.
Oh, that gets a 10, right? Yeah.
That would get a
if
10.
Christian helps. If,
Yeah, I can-
You have to mark a fatigue.
Yeah, I can fatigue myself here to really analyze these arrows.
I like to think that
Yeah,
Ting like wander over and like, here's the arrow. Hold this song. Now everybody look at it except for you, Song. What do you guys see?
So
I'm
it's
just staring at the ceiling.
so
The
Kiona.
wrong direction song.
Kiona, you rolled a 9, and Uzuri, you bumped that up
Help.
to a 10, right?
Hmm.
Hmm.
Okay. So the two of you are eyeing this arrow up and down, and like at first glance, they look identical. Like the head. What is the tip of an arrow called? Does it have a special name besides just the tip of an arrow?
Well, so
It's an arrowhead.
The
Arrowhead.
pointy bit is
Yeah.
the head. Yeah, it's an arrowhead, and then there's the shaft, and then the flechettes on the end.
Okay. So that looks the same. The fletching in the rear looks the same. Like it's the same kind of feathers, but you notice the wood of the shaft looks different. Kiona or Meng Yao's arrows are bamboo, but this looks to be some other type of wood.
Can we tell what kind of wood it is? Or just that it's not bamboo?
Just that it's not bamboo. It looks to be of a lower quality. Looking around again, you actually notice that some of the arrows around are snapped.
Not strong.
Yeah, less cool. I don't know if bamboo arrows are better than.
Oh, where? No, you probably
Lesser
won't.
quality than her.
Yeah.
Min Yao's good arrows that can be reused multiple times.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Are any of the arrows do they have anything pinned in between the head and like the floor or the wall, like bits of fabric or anything like that?
Ooh.
Any blood? Anything?
That's a good question.
The bits of fabric's a good question.
Yeah, that's a good question. There's probably like some like red and black fabrics pinned down by some of them. You're not really sure where that might have come from. I mean, like red and black, that's Fire Nation.
Yeah.
Clothing colors, but that could really be anything. Like that could be from like the kids' clothes, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I want to collect that. I want to
Yeah.
pick up those pieces and kind of storm away if I can.
Okay.
Not
Yeah,
sure.
let's keep
No.
one of the let's keep one of these low quality arrows too.
Yes.
Yeah, one of the snapped ones.
I stick that in my bag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there another way to get in the building in like the back?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. What
There-
about this,
Or a
the service
window.
entrances and exits?
There-
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a back
There's
door.
definitely if this is a restaurant
it should
or
be.
whatever, there's got to be a service entrance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Is there a moves towards the back end of the building to kind of assess that side of things? You know, curious that if whoever came in here and abducted the children may have done it, you know, and may have left something, you know, and behind in a lesser traveled area of the building.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you kind of go in the back of the house, and you're kind of looking for anything else that may be useful.
Mhm.
Any sort of like useful information back there. You don't see much, but one thing, Uzuri, as a person who's dealt with like the law and legality, you were probably around for some of the previous actions, and like the rest of you remember this too because you live in the city. But recently, the Avatar Kyoshi was here in Ba Sing Se and shut down some of the major Dao Fei groups, including, what was it called?
Was it those mercenaries?
The Golden Wing, and yeah, she disrupted the triad of the Golden Wing very recently, and that's kind of where the anti-corruption task force came from. She had like initially set it up, and you do see a little probably like a letter, not really a letter, but like a little like stamp, like a Golden Wing stamp on some papers in the back
Okay.
of the tea
And
house.
so the anti-task force previously was this Order of the Golden Wing?
No, so they shut Avatar Kiyoshi came to Ba Sing Se and saw all this like big organized crime happening, right? And she targeted specifically the triad of the Golden Wing, which is like one of the big ones, and got them shut down.
Okay.
As part of this, she founded the anti-corruption task force, but being the Avatar had other stuff in the world to take care of and look after, so she left the group in the hands of the Earth King under his direction. But he may have been misusing their authority and not really directing them to act in the way that Kiyoshi had originally intended.
Yeah. We traded one gang for 100 gangs.
Yeah. And so, yeah, now the Dao Fei have been split in all of these different smaller groups, no real person in charge. But you see some evidence of the Golden Wing in the back of this tea house. You're not really sure what that means. And it does look pretty old. But you do
When
notice
you say
there
evidence, like what specifically?
What are these papers? Are these just like invoices and stuff?
maybe not papers. We'll say like it's.
Can somebody tell me what's on the papers, please?
I read it for some.
I'm maybe it's not papers. It's more like a ribbon, like maybe something you'd have as like a symbol of like protection.
Oh, okay. Like a secret ID.
Yeah, like maybe they were under protection of the Golden Wing at one point back when it was a thing, and they like paid I forget what the word is, protection money, and they had proof that they were.
The crime is extortion.
Yeah, it's extortion. But they may have had some involvement with them in the past, maybe. But I think with these couple of bits of clues, we're going to call the role playing, because there's another fun thing in Avatar Legends where you kind of reflect on your actions throughout the session, and you might notice that we didn't really talk about XP or any ways to like level up, and that's because that's where this comes in. Avatar Legends uses a series of growth questions that you ask yourself and about your character about the session, and find those here.
First question.
At the end of each session, you guys are going to ask yourselves the following questions. Did you learn something challenging, exciting, or complicated about the world? Did you stop a dangerous threat or solve a community problem? Did you guide a companion towards balance or end the session at your center? And then each of your playbooks has a unique growth question specifically for yourself.
Let's see. Did you express vulnerability by admitting that you were wrong, or that you should have listened to someone you ignored?
So while you guys are thinking about it, I'm gonna ask the group. Probably I'll each ask you guys your individual growth question. But does anybody think that they fulfilled the? Did you learn something challenging, exciting, or complicated about the world that they want to share?
I think the fact that Men Yao is being accused of this
suspect.
because of her arrows, but we clearly found that no, the arrow that Song had is different. Like you said, like you described, with the wood is not bamboo, and the other arrows seem to be broken. So that's kind of like the complicated part of this story so far, is that like Men Yao's being set up by someone.
It's essentially the world shouldn't be taken as black and white, right? There's a lot of
Yeah.
gray.
Yeah, like she was a criminal, like she's reformed, but like maybe everybody else hasn't quite seen that yet, and like there wasn't like an immediate like turnaround for her. Like people still view her negatively and in a bad light because of her
Mhm.
past. So
But-
sure, yeah, you guys can all mark that one off. Did you stop a dangerous threat or solve a community problem?
Oh, we
I
I
think
and
that-
I did.
I think that Ting and Kiana
Yeah, I
definitely
mean-
helped out that one shop owner.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd say that probably just the two of you can mark that off. What about, did you guide a companion towards balance or end the session at your center?
I
Song
did
did.
that.
Yeah. And I think everybody, I don't know if anybody ended exactly at their center.
I got
I
moved
did.
back to center.
You got moved back to center. Song, center, Kiona, Uzuri. Were you guys
Well-
at your center at the end?
I'm like
No, I'm one off.
I'm one off.
Okay.
Oh.
So
But like
Ting,
the whole center hasn't moved off. It's just like the track. Does that make sense?
yeah. So your
Mhm.
center is right now at the center because the center itself hasn't been shifted, but your balance is not in your center.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
Ting and Song, you guys both get to answer yes to that growth question. But let's see here. Kiona, what's your playbook's growth question? Your specific one.
Did you get a friend to join in or approve of one of your bad habits? So, sort of. I
Mhm.
feel like I'm going to say no because I didn't do like the specific. There's like a specific bad habits thing where I indulge a bad habit on my own or with a friend, and I have to shift my balance and roll for it.
Mm-hmm.
So like while I kind of did a bad habit in terms of I kind of pulled off this stunt with Tink. I didn't roll for it with the bad habits thing. So I think that means I don't mark it off
Okay.
because I didn't use like the specific bad habits mechanism, which I think is what that question is getting at.
I think so. We can think about it later, but I think that's probably correct. Song, what about you? What's your playbook's your growth question?
Mine is, did you express vulnerability by admitting you were wrong or that you should have listened to someone that you ignored? I mean, I feel like I expressed vulnerability with my interaction with Ting,
Mm-hmm.
but it wasn't that I admitted that I was wrong. It was just that stuff was way more. I mean, we've had this very interesting theme during this whole session of things are not always as they seem, and it's not black and white.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think you can mark that off.
Okay, cool.
Uzuri, what about you? What's your growth question?
Mine is, did you seek support or guidance from others? And I can't say I did this session. I more so accused and got put in my place. But yeah.
Okay, that's fair. What about you, Ting?
Mine is, did you improve the lives of a community of average citizens or help an ordinary person with their problems? Which I don't think it was Ting's original intention. In fact, he was pretty opposed to it at the beginning, I think. But I think with Kiona's interference, I would argue that he did, just because he helped
I
out
would say
that
so.
shop
Yeah, I'd say
owner.
you helped out that shop owner.
That
Mhm.
means I got all 4 growth questions marked.
Yeah, so for each yes, you guys mark growth on your character sheet. There's a little section of it. And when you've marked 4 growth, you take a growth advancement. There's a few different options for what that means. I think find that in the rules.
Yeah, it's not.
It's
showing
not
up.
gonna-
Okay, it's take a new move from your playbook, and you can do that twice. Take a new move from another playbook, and you can also do that twice. Raise a stat by +1 to a maximum of +2 in any stat. Shift your center 1 step that you can do twice, and unlock your moment of balance, which you can do twice.
So yeah, Spencer, you get to pick one of those things for Ting,
Yeah.
and the rest of you have made progress towards that growth.
One short.
I think I only checked 2 off.
Yeah, I think the rest of you missed 1 or 2. So Ting is picking his little growth advancement that he gets to see.
I'm doing a new move for my playbook. I'm doing It Doesn't Belong to You as a part of the Idealist playbook move.
Very cool.
What's that do?
When you secretly pocket something owned by someone undeserving, roll with harmony. On a hit, you swipe something from them, your choice, without them noticing you took it. On a 7 to 9, the thing you took isn't exactly what you thought it was. The GM will tell you how. On a miss, you grab the goods, but they notice and pursue as soon as you exit the scene. So it's kind of fifi little thing, which I think is
Yeah.
interesting.
I'm going to start getting you to engage in bad habits with me.
Uh-oh.
No, Ting, don't do it, Ting. Save Ting.
But-
Although
That's what I chose.
Interrupted.
I'm not so naive anymore.
yeah.
If anybody watching has any questions for us, put in the chat while we're kind of wrapping up the session. We'll probably go for a few more minutes. If anybody has any like questions or comments or anything about how everything went, feel free to speak up.
Dalton, what was the second growth question again?
It was
Did you stop a dangerous threat or solve a community problem?
No, I guess my distraction so that Meng Yao could get away doesn't count, huh?
not quite, I don't think. But
no, I'm trying to grow.
yeah,
to get the growth
don't worry. There'll be a couple more sessions of this one. I'm sure you'll get some. You'll clear because you don't need to earn all 4 at once. It's like that's stored. Like you've made progress.
That's pretty cool though. It's not like if you don't get it at the end of the session, you don't level up.
Yeah.
Level up a little.
Just I think your character probably answered yes to like 2 or 3. So.
I got 3. Yeah.
Yeah. So you just need to next session. You just need to do at least 1 of the 4. But how did everybody think that went? Did they like the game? They enjoyed how things are going? Any like highlights, fun moments, stuff they want to comment on?
Go ahead, Justin.
No, go for it, Spence.
During combat, that was really fun. I chose a move that I chose for. So I have my master technique of disorient, which is part of my just like the idealist playbook, but I took the air fighting technique called air swipe. It's a defend and maneuver move, but it's a learned. So I think we were discussing earlier, because it's learned, I have to get like a hard hit. Is that what it's called? Hard hit? In order to use it. And then it becomes practice. So I have that down right now, but unfortunately I didn't roll well, so I didn't get to do it. But I didn't realize that my focus is a -1, so whenever I do defend and maneuver, I have a -1 to those rolls. But my playbook has something called Can't Knock Me Down, which when engaged with superior opposition, which I think you could have argued whether or not it was superior opposition just because there are so many of them.
I mean, there were only 2 of them.
Oh, okay. So
It was 2v2 and you had backup.
I had backup.
You
yeah,
probably
so-
weren't the underdog in that situation, to be honest.
Well, in the future, when I'm outnumbered,
yeah.
I can roll with harmony for the rest of the battle. Basically, when I say I'm not backing down and I'm not fleeing, I can roll with harmony for the rest of the battle whenever I defend a maneuver, which is pretty cool. So
It's very cool.
Thematically, the whole idea of like, oh, you haven't mastered these techniques yet. You're a prodigy or whatever. You're growing and becoming stronger, but you're still like have issues with like, bending and stuff. Is like it's very thematic and very cool. That you have to hit those certain roles to be able to do it.
Yeah. I think they're
Adds
very
more risk too.
Yeah, I think it's very cool, especially like this game doesn't have a lot of like magic items like that you would get in like a D&D type game or something. There isn't like one of the main rewards is being taught these techniques by someone who's mastered them. Like that's one of the things the book describes is a lot of times you'll run into masters of these things, and as a reward for like impressing them or something, they might decide to teach you something cool.
Yeah.
And that's how you kind of like learn techniques and another way to grow as an individual.
It
Is by
really
like
seems like finding a master is like a big part of Avatar.
Yeah.
Which I mean makes sense for the show and for the game.
yeah, I mean that was all over the place. Is
Yeah.
finding a teacher, given it was like the main
Finding
arc
the
of-
right teacher.
Yeah, finding the right teacher.
Mhm.
But I think the session went really well. I think that the system did a very good job of getting you all to like role play through moments with each other and making that like the focus, as opposed to you guys are like, oh, I do an action, I do a steal, I do a sneak. You were kind of like describing how things were going and kind of like fell into the moves, as
Yeah.
opposed to being like a move first, next, like role playing through the situation. So I think that was really cool and a good job from all of you guys. Anybody else have any closing comments before we shout out some individuals?
Yeah, we can do first impressions. Really fun, very accessible. This would be good if parents were like, "Oh, I don't know about D&D," and it's like, "No, like here, check this one out. It's like way more mild." So that's nice. Also, low equipment factor. Really, I mean, Dalton has set up some great stuff for us in Roll20. But all you need is 2d6, and then you're adding 1 or 2. Very low math, very just easy peasy all around mechanically, and then very balanced. Everything had a little. Oh, did you get some Avatar dice?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So it's
Yeah,
each of
from the
different-
Kickstarter, there's a whole bunch of D6s. The 6 is the symbol.
Mm-hmm.
I think
I love
Spencer,
it.
or is the 1 the symbol?
The
There you go.
6 is. The
Yeah.
6 is the symbol.
So there's 6 sets of 2d6, each one like firebending dice, waterbending dice, weapon dice, technology
Oh,
dice.
that's cool.
Yeah. The balance aspect, like all of your everything kind of costs fatigue, or for you need to do something, you need to shift your, key balance. That's really cool, and everything seems to be kind of appropriately costed, for what you're trying to do. I like that balance is really, really at the, balance is a core mechanic in the game, and it really shows through the rest of the rules and the mechanics.
Yeah.
So yeah, and Dalton, you did a great job leading us through today, so thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you guys making time and being fun, active participants today. It was awesome. You guys all did a great job. Very happy with how
It
this
was-
session went.
It was fun.
But I don't see any questions in the comments, which I think that means we all did a great job playing the game and explaining it. That's my
Heck
takeaway.
Yeah.
And if nobody else has anything else they want to say, I can go in and give some shout outs to some people.
Yeah,
I
let's
think
do our.
I think the only one thing I had to say, overall loved it. I really like that our character sheets kind of come with a cheat sheet of what the moves are. But I think the one thing I'd really like is that if it kind of outlined when you use each move. Because I think like some of them, like some of my moves that are specific to the rogue, like my slippery eel hound is specifically a combat move, whereas a different thing like is that the best you got is an out of combat move. So I think maybe just having like just a little like a little token or letter to denote when you use each set of moves. Like the fighting techniques are clearly for combat, but with like the specific moves to your playbook, just kind of outlining when you use them, and then like making it a little bit more clear, like the basic moves. Like
Mhm.
in help, it says in the very last sentence, you cannot help in a combat exchange in this way. Like I think just having like a little token so you can quickly glance at it and be like, okay, I can't do this right now, or I can do this right now. That might make it even a little bit more streamlined. But I think they're really aiming for that by how they do it. But it's really just under the specific moves that you pick that it could be improved on.
Yeah, and the playbook moves are pretty varied. Like some of them are combat related, some of them are like out of combat related. Some of them aren't even like moves you actively take in a sense, and just kind of like
Right.
things that change your stats. But yeah, very cool. I thanks to Magpie Games for publishing the very fun rules and putting in all the work, including all of the Roll20 work. There's a lot of very nice Roll20 integrations that they had set up. The character sheets are all very cool. You probably saw a little bit of it on the stream, but they have little very easy to fill out stat blocks for the various levels of NPCs. A lot of cool integration there. Makes it very easy to run and kind of like launch off of stuff. Spencer, do you want to say something?
I was just gonna say, yeah, like as you could see, like we have all these like text and moves and stuff going up. All we have to do is like we click on the character sheet and it just pulls it up in the Roll20
which is really
little
nice.
box. It's
Mhm.
really, really easy, really intuitive. I was marking my fatigue and moving stuff on here as we were doing stuff, so it's really cool. It's really nice that it allows us to do all this.
Yeah. So yeah, thanks to Magpie Games, thanks to Team Avatar,
Hero Forge?
Hero Forge for all the character art. Made it very easy, very fun to blast through some cool characters. Everybody really appreciate Hero Forge for having that all out there. Other than that, thanks to Kevin MacLeod for the infinite amount of music that he puts out there. He wrote the thanks for the Be Right Back and Starting Soon music that plays. Very cool. I don't know, Spencer, do you remember who did the art you have for the background?
It was on Pixabay. I can look that up real quick.
Yeah, why don't you go find who made it so I can give them, so I can say their name. I think it's a really nice piece. Very cinematic. I don't think there's anything else to really give a shout out to. While Spencer's looking that up. But
Thanks for everybody for watching.
Yeah.
Shout out to you. Accolades to y'all.
yeah.
Thanks for tuning in. And if you have any comments, questions, concerns, if you have any input for us, let us know. Because
yeah, if you didn't watch Session 0, that's up on YouTube. You can go back and watch that one. I'll be uploading this one whenever my computer finishes processing all of the data it has to process. To upload a 3-hour video to YouTube. But keep an eye on all of our social media. We're on various platforms under ABCs of RPGs. Your Instagrams, your Twitters, your Facebooks, your TikToks. There we go, Spencer. Thanks to Dark Moon Art for the very cool piece that was used.
Dark Moon _ art.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's the piece you're seeing in the background and on the little Roll20 screen. It's nice, got some good Avatar vibes. But yeah, thank you very much, everybody, for watching and tuning in. We will schedule the next stream 2 weeks from now, I think. But we will catch you all then. Bye, everybody.
Keep on learning.
See ya.
Thanks.